Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back on this fine Thursday night. We are stateside. It's COTA, the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Jack Canan is back. I'm back. And I gotta say, what a championship fight we have tonight, Jack. Incredible.
Oh yes, it's been kind of hotting up over the past few weeks. Barry kind of missing the weeks, losing points. Jarno missing rounds as well. It's brought all within 5 people that can take this title to the end. Preshtader still at the head of it, still in with a chance. Barry sits in second. Then it's Idaru. And then, of course, you have Jarno in there. He's in 5th, but he's tied on points on 56. With our other contender, Alvaro Carreton. So it's incredibly close. Really looking forward to this now. And we have a full grid. Some drivers and some new cars. We're going to talk about that afterwards. Rumor mill is certainly in full effect as well, but plenty of exciting stuff happening.
Certainly is. Rumor mill is the word. I have to say, there's lots of... certainly been a lot of debate as to where Barry Burremand is going, because obviously there's a lot of heightened tension as to where his future lies, and I think we might have the question answered tonight. Who knows, folks? It certainly will create a story, but phenomenal scenes here at the moment. Driver transfers in abundance, but tonight, the Circuit of the Americas, we are off into qualifying very, very soon, and of course, the Circuit of the Americas, amazing track. Formed in 1908, of course, 49 Grand Prix held at this circuit, and not to mention 56 laps across a full race, and of course Lewis Hamilton second to Valtteri Bottas in the last race we held here. Charles Leclerc picked up the fastest lap in that one, but 56 laps usually, but we are going to be going at a reduced level here tonight, around this 5.513 kilometre circuit, 3.426 miles, and I got to say, it's going to be a corker. Lots of straights, DRS activation points, certainly will open the opportunities for overtakes. We cannot wait, and I certainly can imagine we're going to see loads, Jack, between turns 11 and 12.
Yeah, that's going to be your action zones through there. So we're counting down at the beginning of qualifying. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with PSGL, full qualifying format here, Q1, Q2, Q3. And then we head into the 50% race. We had an interesting one at France last week, of course. We had the changeable conditions in qualifying, full wets to start, then inters, and then dries in Q3. So I think the drivers are hoping for something a little bit more simple today. Just a dry session in qualifying, dry race. Always provides some great action, but we've had our predictions on Twitter. If you want to have a look at our predictions, you can go to the PSGL Twitter page and have a look at that. We've all predicted somebody different because any one of those could genuinely win this race.
Yeah, well, I've actually brought the prediction list to the stream, Jack. If you look to my right well, it's my right, yeah, your left here as you're looking at it, folks. On the right-hand side, we have got the pundit predictions here, folks. And Big C, birthday boy Big C, big happy birthday to boss man Connor as well. Wish him a happy birthday in the chat, folks. He has gone for Alvaro Carreton, the Williams driver for this race here today. I've gone for the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Watmere. I got to say, after last week's performance, you cannot write him off. And I know he's been working hard at his USA setup. Jack, you've gone for Josh Idaru. Tell us your thinking behind that one.
I think he's nearly there. He's come so close on multiple occasions to securing himself a win. But I really think that he's going to get over the line first today. If everything works in his favour, I think he's got it in him to get himself a win. It might take some cogs falling into place, maybe getting in, if he can get himself in front of the Mercs, which is not an easy task after we saw what happened in France. But yeah, I really think Josh Idaru, he's got a win in him, and I really think it's going to be today.
Well, you could be right. I mean, he is a quality driver, I have to say. He's brought so many outstanding performances. I mean, just look at Josh Idaru at this moment in time. He's always fighting for podiums. 2 third places, a 2nd place as well. None other than, I believe that was the British Grand Prix as well. And he did bring a fight as well. He was actually in cahoots, potentially, for the win, because it was a three-way fight to the finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was indeed. Is that he's always in those top fights. That's the key point. It's never just quite worked for him. So if he can just get that little bit extra, I think he could really get himself a win here. But I'm sure you've all noticed by now on the timing tower, or at least I have, and when we get our beautiful overlay up, you will notice it. Barry Burman's in new colours, ladies and gentlemen. Barry Burman now in McLaren in PSGL. So that's the rumour mill is going on the hyperdrive. with this one. Barry Burman teaming up with Josh Idawu at McLaren. And I tell you what, if that's the official lineup, that's a force to be reckoned with.
Wow, folks. Wow. Josh Idawu and Barry Burman donning the orange of McLaren here at PSGL. Now, what could that mean, folks? What could that mean? Obviously, leave your comments in the leave your comments as well. I want to hear your pundits. Also, it's good to point out, because we almost forgot him. Maku has actually opted for Barry Burman himself as well. The Iranian has been absolutely rapid this season. 3 wins in his first 3 races. He did go 3 from 3. He was fastest in every session when we started this event. Or started the season, that's for sure. And it just became apparent that obviously due to the fact that he was moving logistically, he was not able to transport his rig in quick enough fashion. So he did miss a considerable number of races, opening the door for potentially Philip Prejnader to gain some points. Prejnader not having maybe the opportunity, well, maybe not taking the opportunities he should have done. Hence why we have this championship fight right now. 6 points is all the difference that separates Barry Burman and Philip Prejnader. But bring in the fact that last week's winner at the French Grand Prix, Jarno Opmeer, he's now only 11 points behind the leader. So we have got a huge cluster of drivers, and also joining him on 11 points behind the leader is that man, Alvaro Carreton. And just ahead of those two as well, you've got Josh Idawu. What a title fight, Jack. Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I think a man who's wanted to make up for lost time. It was a big kind of missed out opportunity for Alvaro Carreton last week, because he finished down in 15th place at a terrible qualifying. Not exactly sure what happened to Alvaro Carreton during that race, but he missed out, didn't score a single point. So that's ended up with Opmeer catching him up in the championship. So it could have been a big point score for Carreton. He could be second in the championship right now had he not had that terrible race in France. But nonetheless, he'll be looking to go one better this week. And of course, we have Jarno, who's the first man out on the track. Actually, he's gone for the inters as per usual in a dry session to save the set of tyres. Going to do an out lap, an installation lap, and come straight back in to get a set of the dry tyres on. And if you want to get an idea of how much Jarno's been practicing, literally about half an hour after the previous race finished in France last week, he was on TT at USA.
He was. The man is just relentless, I have to say. Phenomenal human being, Jarno Opmeer. Of course, the Flying Dutchman is in impeccable form. And I've got to say, if you weren't here for last week's race at France, you missed a real treat. It was absolutely scintillating. A great team performance, a complete team performance, made up with the fact that they also had their man, James Doherty, or Doherty, should I say, TRR Limitless, as their race engineer. And it was just a beautifully executed race by the Mercedes team, getting them both the P1 and P2 points. They both utilised different strategies, and it was just a superb, just a superb performance. It was almost like watching it in theatre. It was that good, Jack.
It really was. It was just, it was literally real life F1 brought to the fore in PSGL. It was brilliant to watch, perfectly done, and they basically drove away from the rest of the field. There was about a 4-second gap in the end between them and the rest of the field, and they did an excellent job today. Now, whether that's going to happen again today, we don't know, but I'm sure TRL Limitless is going to be engineering today as well. But our first time lap is going to be the Haas, who of course is their home Grand Prix now, the USA, the Haas F1 team. And a moment of silence, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas UK is dead. Hello, Lewis Welch.
Yes, he has finally dropped the Lucas UK username. He is back now in full force. And indeed, many quote him the best, well, some say, to quote Top Gear and Jeremy Clarkson, some say he's the best pad player on the game. It's Lewis Welch, ladies and gentlemen, and he's instantly gone purple in Sector 1, as you'd expect. In the Haas car, like you quite rightly say, Jack, the home Grand Prix for this team, of course, as he makes his way down towards what will be turn 11. And he'll take that very shortly. This is when the DRS will become active, of course. And as we now witness him heading down the stretch now. A lovely exit indeed across the DRS detection line. And he powers down towards turn 12. Now, how key is getting this straight right, Jack? Because obviously a nice exit out of turn 11 can certainly garner you an overtake. Is it important that these drivers take advantage of this very unique circuit?
Yeah, it really is. That exit out of the slow corners are always going to be so critical to the lap, and especially when it's a DRS straight as well. You want to make sure that you get the benefit of the best effectiveness of the DRS that you can down towards turn 12. So it's very, very key you get that corner right. It's a tricky corner to get a good exit out of, and then down into the slow sector that he just went through, and through the last few corners as well. Very easy to pick up invalidations around here as well. But Lewis Welch, he will set the benchmark time then for Haas as they come across the start-finish line. It will be a 1:29.8, a decent opening effort and a good banker for Lewis Welch in Q1 on the soft compounded tire. Now remember, of course, it's Q1, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to be just trying to see who's going to be in the bottom 5 by the end of this qualifying. And I can't actually pick who's going to be in that bottom 5 because this is just a star-studded grid. You can't pick anybody. Everybody's so quick. Everybody's so close. It's going to be a matter of a couple of hundreds, really, that's going to make the difference. A man we haven't actually mentioned is Joe Hannon, goes to the top of the 29.4 as well. A man we actually haven't mentioned and has rejoined the grid. We have the official Alpine lineup for this year. It's Longa and Denosa are back together again.
Yes, Alpine have announced, obviously, that Denoso and Longa are going to be representing them as their drivers. And, of course, not forgetting YouTuber Tom as well. Tom the Bomb as well, they know him. He's known as. He is now the ambassador for Alpine. And he's going to be governing that area of the team. And it's great to see Nicholas Longa back as well, a huge talent in F1 esports, and naturally was very much in the fight last season. And we've seen him certainly on many occasions lighting things up. And he certainly is a huge talent. Came through into the Red Bull program all that time ago, if you remember, a couple of seasons back. He is now here with Alpine and once again driving in the Renault car tonight here in PSGL. Great to have him back because he's a huge talent. And this is what we want. We want the best here as we see Dormeyer go purple in Sector 2.
Yeah, Dormeyer as well. I'm going to mention him signed for VSR this week as well. So repping a new team and also within this championship as well. He's an Alfa Romeo as well, so swapping around plenty in PSGL here. Dormeyer, yeah, new team for him as well as he comes towards the last corner. This is probably going to be our fastest time as he comes around the last corner. Careful not to extend out on that right-hand side. He doesn't quite do it on a 29.509. Just ran out of energy in the last corner. Just that would have cost him that 300th of a second. Not quite able to get in front of Joe Hannon in the Alpha Tauri, who did had a great performance last time out in France. But Chanakinchi's also on a lap as well. Chanakinchi had a great run last time out in France as well. And now, of course, in the Haas as well, alongside Lewis Welch. Good team there at Haas at this time as well. But a man who's on his way out now, the second Mercedes is also, both Mercedes are out, Jarno's out, and Danny Moreno, of course, the man who went on the alternate strategy and worked with his teammates so beautifully. It was the first time we saw them really working together in their new team. And if any of the other F1 esports teams were watching, I'm sure they were a little bit worried by what they saw.
Well, it was just tactical genius, I have to say. Utilising two separate strategies to their advantage. Chanakinchi hits the top end there with a great time indeed. 28.986 puts him at the top by near enough half a second. So dispatches Joe Hannon in the AlphaTauri down to P2. Andreas Dormeyer down in P3, another half a second back or just over. So about a second off the leader Chanakinchi. But still plenty out on track as well. Not forgetting this man, of course, Barry Burramand. He is also on track. And in orange colours as well, Jack. Well, gotta say, treat to see.
Yeah, it really is. And he probably won't be able to run this number next year, but that's the number 47 on the side of the car, which I'm not mistaken is Mick Schumacher's number. He's not quite he wasn't in F1 last year, so he's going to have to change that. But the number 47 on the front of the car in the McLaren, going to have to get used to that. I wonder if he signed for them. But great to see him in the new colours as he begins his lap. Now, of course, he was the man runner-up, actually third place last time, Barry Burramand. Of course, still getting used to that new rig, that new Fanatec setup that he's got, and still trying to adjust just a little bit to it, but I'm sure he's had that extra week now to get that practice, and I'm sure he's going to be right on the money this week. Yeah,
I'm sure he will be. He's got a point to prove. He's already gone purple in Sector 1, though, and that's a great way to start, and makes his way out of the winding sections, out of Turn 10, and now heading down towards Turn 11, where, of course, the DRS will become active for the McLaren. Let's run on board now as he loses that purple first sector. And here he is now, Barry Burramand, the rapid Iranian, back again here at PSGL, looking to obviously recover the damage after last week's race, of course, where Mercedes were dominant. Of course, Barry Burman was the unfortunate collateral damage, ended up fighting it out with the likes of Nicolas Matteo and the rest of them as well. It was a true fistfight at that French circuit, but I have to say, it was a true contest and something that we've been longing to watch, and at least longing to see for a long time, Jack. It certainly was, maybe the race of the season, but one of the more intriguing races of the season.
I think that's the way to put it. Yeah, it was intriguing to watch, interesting to watch, and that's what we like to see. Even though as Jarno Opmeer top of the standings right now, 28.7, but this is going to be close between himself and Barry as they come around the last corner. Here comes Boerman. Does he get in front of him? Yes, he does, by about a tenth of a second there, Barry Boerman. So he sets the marker down. Now we have a few more of the quick guys also on laps as well. Caraton out of the last corner, and he slots into third, just a couple of hundredths behind Opmeer. A couple more to come as well that are lighting up the time screen. The second McLaren of Josh Idaho. I don't think he's going to quite get up there. He's run out of energy at the last moment, and that would have cost him those 2 tenths there. But it is Barry Boerman on the top. Jarno Opmeer in second. Danny Moreno slots into P5 by 100th of a second. And interestingly enough, that's nearly all of our title contenders in the top 5, excluding Danny Moreno. Now, Moreno is 6th in the championship, 12 points off the back of Caraton, but he's not necessarily out of the championship fight. He's just he's got some catching up to do. But all the championship contenders are basically within about 2 tenths of each other now.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jack, but I'm starting to sweat a bit here. This is going to be a very, very close affair here at this United States Grand Prix. But this is what we want. We've got the best in the business here tonight for you folks here at Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. And here at the PC Championship, Barry Boerman is leading the current contingent. There you can see him letting a racing point through there. Jarno Opmeer, though, P2 for now. Scalped at the last moment there by Barry Boerman, just out by 1.5 tenths of a second. But look at this. Your prediction spot on, Jack. Watch out for the McLarens. Josh Idaho up in P3 as well. Big points in the offing here for McLaren, who I have to say, currently middle of the table when it comes to the constructor standings. P5 at the moment. Their best performances have been at the likes of the British Grand Prix, like we quite rightly suggested, and Zandvoort as well, where they picked up a second place. But if you look further on as well, P3 at Suzuka, but they've come here today in full force at the United States Grand Prix. And what timing to bring it to the table.
Yeah. Absolutely, and they're putting on a strong performance now. Amanu's also just in that it's so close in this top contingent. You've got both Renaults of Donoso and Longuet. They're separated by just about 200th of a second between Donoso and Longuet. Chanakinchi's in there as well, but there's about 2 tenths. 2 to 3 tenths separating the top 7 drivers at this level. Now we have, of course, the bottom 5. Nicolas Matteo still no lap set for our Italian Grand Prix race winner. And a man who's in real trouble, George, Preschnader, no time set and has not come out on the track since.
Yeah, and he's not on his own up in the championship either, Jack. Remember, 6 points the difference between him and Barry Boerman. And I have to say, you would have thought that Preschnader might have wanted to get as much points as he could in Barry's absence. It was a great opportunity for Preschnader in order to try and whittle it down. He did manage to scratch together a win at Spa, but remember, Barry finished in that race too after he was pretty much left at the back, was in a lot of traffic, but managed to scoop up 3 points for his troubles. But when Barry went away for 4 races, he missed out on Zandvoort, British GP, as well as the Italian Grand Prix and Japan, came back to a 3rd place. But in that time, Preschnader only able to scratch together 5 points at the British Grand Prix, 6 points at Italy, 8 points at Japan, and only 2 points on Barry's return at France. It certainly does not help heading into the last stage of the season.
Yeah, he's out on the circuit now, just emerging out of the track onto the soft compound of Tyre. Barry Boerman, he's retired already. He's happy enough, and he's definitely going to be safe where he is, as is Danny Moreno, Josh Idaho as well. So don't expect the top 5 to come out again, but the fight down in the lower end is the one we're keeping our eyes on. The battle for 15th down. 15th, you make it in. 16th, you do not. So we've got guys like Julian Naumann, Dylan Warren's currently out at the moment with no time set. Yamulo, Preschnader, Ruben Vallejo as well. Down there, both racing points currently out in Q1, but we know from previous experience they always come back through the field. Both of those guys, Vallejo and Warren, always are fast starters in those racing points. So qualifying won't be everything for them, but they would still like to get both of those cars at least into Q2 and try to start themselves maybe kind of 11th, 12th, or 13th. to get themselves that alternate strategy, which they've done on multiple occasions, and it's really worked well for them.
Yeah, well, we've got to say, we're just running on board currently with Nicolas Mateo, the young Spanish whiz kid who picked up his first win this season. And of course, he's a young pretender and an amazing driver at that. Nicolas Mateo, certainly a man with relentless tenacity, who always likes to fight, likes to throw it in the mix. And as he now rounds that illustrious turn 11 on the outset, now heading into Sector 2 proper, DRS will load and he smashes it down the stretch. And of course, he was in absolute adulation after winning at the Italian Grand Prix. And you certainly got images of the Pierre Gasly win when he won for the AlphaTauri team. It was absolutely stunning to watch because he was defending it for his life, wasn't he, Jack, around Monza?
It really was. I remember that the penalty as well for Danny Moreno. He followed him through. He was trying to hold Caraton off at the same time, but he had that maturity to stay behind Moreno, not pick his fights, and not go for it when he didn't need to. And that was maturity that we needed to see from the youngster. And he's certainly showing that now. He's got a race win under his belt. He's also in a very good lap here. Not quite purple, but you can see the traffic in the last corner. Dylan Warren and all those guys getting very well out of the way as Mateo gets a little slide onto the last corner. He goes up to 10th. That might be safe. But he should at least make it through. But we're keeping our eye on the battles further down that we need to see who's going to make it through, who's not going to make it through. But it is absolute crunch time for Philip Preshneder. He cannot afford to invalidate. He cannot afford to not make it through. If he does not, that's his championship league gone.
Yeah, and here comes Dylan Warren as well. He's currently in the winding sections. The Racing Point, of course, a fan favourite here at PSGL. And trying to don this Pink Panther, taking it to the top. And he certainly will do just that. He's a dangerous character, certainly has thrown it in the midst. Has had a reasonably positive season as well. Currently lying P10 in the championship and has been a regular performer in the point section. So is regularly in the top 10. And a bit of a surprise package. I don't think many people expected him to be as quick as he was. But as soon as we came out the blocks at Austria, he was very competitive. An incredible qualifying performance. Landed him right up there fighting in the top 10. And an equally decent racing performance as well that led him to certainly battle with the best in the business here at PSGL in the PC Championship, and he very much deserved and showed that he was entitled to be there, and certainly brought his A game, which was certainly special to see. And I hope we get to see some more from Dylan Warren as well, because I got to say, I think he is definitely a PSGL fan favourite.
Oh, Preshneder's in trouble. He's not done it. He's in 15th right now, and he hasn't put a good lap.
Can Akinci!
Can Akinci, what a lap from the Turkish driver. He goes to the top of provisional standings in Q1, but Philip Preshneder is in real trouble. He's out. He is out of Q1, and he's been usurped by his teammate, Tom97. Tom Martinez has knocked Philip Preshneder out of Q1, and that is a massive blow to Philip Preshneder's title hopes. He's been pipped by about a 10th of a second. Preshneder did not get the lap together, and he is out in Q1, and it's just been knocked out. Both Ferraris are now out. Ruben Vallejo knocks them out. Dylan Warren doesn't make it in, but disaster for Preshneder. He's out in Q1.
No, and absolutely both Ferraris out of Q1, which is absolutely brutal. Philip Preshneder, who now needs to try and get in the fight. Ferrari in real danger here today of not scoring at all unless they get into the top 10. This is really not a good place to be if you're a prancing horse fan, that's for sure. Martinez now at the last moment denied an entry because Andreas Dormea up into P15 as well. And Ruben Vallejo also managed to park his car up there as well, despite the early exit from Dylan Warren, who just could not post a time to help himself. But Ruben Vallejo goes through anyway for the Pink Panthers. This is a real unfortunate display here from Ferrari, and certainly not a performance that they would appreciate.
Oh, really, really, really disappointing for Philip Preshneder. And he'll know that. He'll be kicking himself with that. Just didn't hook a lap together. I was on board. He just looked like the car, he just struggling through every single corner, running out wide. Is not happy with that car underneath him by the looks of it, and pipped by Tom Martinez by about a 10th of a second. He was about 2/10 from making it in, so not exactly a small gap there that we've got. And of the times that were set, he's the second slowest, which is not what we expect from Philip Preshneder. But that is it. He's out in Q1, and it's another surprise loss from Q1, because last week it was Alvaro Caraton. This week it's the championship leader, and everybody else in the championship fight will be absolutely delighted to see that. But we've got to give some props to the American team, Team Haas. Can Akinci top in Q1.
Yeah, Can Akinci, P1 here in Q1. Excellent performance indeed. Gets the Haas at top spot here in this first session of qualifying. Barry Burman P2, Yada Watmir P3, Josh Idawu P4, Alvaro Caraton P5, Danny Moreno P6, Fabrizio Donoso P7, Nicholas Longe P8, Yari Fitz in P9, Nicholas Matteo P10, Jake Benham in P11, Lewis Welch P12, Dario Iamulo P13, Vallejo in P14, Andreas Dormeyer P15, and we're losing Tom Martinez, Philip Presneda, Joe Hannon, Julian Naumann, and Dylan Warren. But what an incredible start to qualifying, Jack. 2 Ferraris out. That has got to be the story from that first session.
Yeah, it's a massive surprise. It really, really is. They just didn't get the runs that they needed to get in early. I think it might have been that they both invalidated their second runs that didn't quite get across the line to get another run in. Presneder missed out on another run by about a second. He just crossed the line as the checkered flag ticked over, so he'll be kicking himself with that one. But it's going to be 16th and 17th for those guys, and that they've got a lot of work to do in that one. But at the same time, it was only 7/10 up to the fastest driver, Chanakinchi, and down to 15th, it was half a second. It was only half a second between the whole field, basically, of making it up to... If you improve by half a second, you went from 15th to 1st, and that is the story, basically, of PSGL. It's going to be even closer when we get to Q3, by the way. This is going to be a super tight fight for the top 10 positions as well to make it into Q3, but even more crucial as well, because this qualifying Q2, the tyre that you set your fastest time on, that is the tyre that you will start the race on.
Yeah, so despite obviously the final positions not being determined in Q2, there is still a very important decision to be made, certainly when it comes to what tyres you start on, and naturally that does decide a lot of the strategies here, folks, of course, as we now witness the Renault team. Just want to give a little bit of a hat tip to Nicholas Longe, of course, after going through a serious he had a fairly serious operation that he had to undertake, and it led to him obviously being on the sidelines for a little bit of time. He's back in his first competitive racing event, at least as far as we know. So therefore, it's going to be on the utmost of importance that he manages to get himself back recuperated as quickly as possible. I know what he's like. He's a competitive character, and obviously a necessary operation was required to take place. But it's great to see him back, Jack, and here with us at PSGL, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the table.
Yep, seems to have recovered all right. Anyway, I'm sure he was prescribed sim racing as a recovery, but he's back in full swing by the looks of it. So great to see Longe back as well. He's going to be back on the F1 esports scene as well with Donoso. So they're going to be flat out. Of course, as well, I'm sure you've all seen it at this stage that the F1 2021 game is officially announced. It's out in July, and that's when we get to see these boys in their new colours.
Certainly will, and I got to say I can't wait for it. I did see the preview today, and it was absolutely brilliant. Let's hope that the game itself is exactly what... well, let's hope it follows up that excellent introduction we got through that trailer, as we're now watching Caraton rush his way through this bridge into the second sector, and now making his way past turn 10 into turn 11. And green sector 1, his time has already been taken away from him. The Delta quicker elsewhere on the grid, and it could well be taken up by Donoso as he now rounds down this semi-straight, or down this long straight, shall I say, past the DRS line, passes or pushes the button there to activate the rear wing, and heads down towards turn 12. And that's when he'll soon reach sector 3. And now turning back on yourself. Very tough corner to judge this one. And I have to say, this is a very tricky part of the circuit as you reach the stadium section of this track. Very stunning though, certainly the United States certainly know how to put on a show. And there's the grandstands there, full of crowds, of course. Can't be in real life, unfortunately, due to the current COVID restrictions, as we now watch Alvaro Caraton rush round turn 16, 17, 18, and now 19. Cuts through the corner now. One corner beckons, that being turn 20. So let's see what the flying Spaniard can land here. Certainly with purple in sector 2, he lands a blow 128.899. We saw times quicker than that before, and with track evolution, will Donoso go quicker? No, not quite, I do not think. In fact, I think it was an invalidation, Jack.
It was indeed an invalidation in sector number 2, but a man who's seemed to be going a little bit quicker, or was at least going quicker until he invalidated, was Chanakinchi. He's bailed into the pit lane after invalidating in sector number 2. That's the kind of the slow sector that it's very easy to just outbrake yourself in certain places, and also the first sector as well, the winding kind of Maggots and Beckett section, very easy to go wide through those, and we expect plenty of penalties to be in force today, and as well, stewards are, of course, going to be looking. The drivers have a briefing, of course, before every race, and pit entry. Got to keep our eyes on that as well, because they got to stay within the lines on the pit entry, at least on the outside of the pit entry. Got to be a wheel inside that white line, and we know the pit lane entries have caused controversy previously in PSGL, but it is black and white in the rules. If it does happen, there's going to be a slam dunk penalty for pit entry.
It is indeed, so you've got to be careful with your track limits, folks, so be sure to, or utilise the utmost caution when making your way around this track. It's very tricky. Lewis Welch posting a P2 time, not representative because he's on the intermediate tyres, so I'm sure that time will eventually be beat. Very interesting to see that he's brought those out in Q2. I'm not sure quite what the thinking is behind that one, Jack.
This could be a little bit clever from Lewis Welch, actually, because I wonder if his fastest time is on the inters. Well, that's only if he starts in the top 10, which is not going to happen. But if he was going to set that time and he was in the top 10, would he get free choice of tyres? I think so. So that's a little bit of a cheeky strat. It's not going to work because it's about a 20-second delta between the inters and the softs. But I think he's just trying to save a set of tyres, really. He's just having a drift session around at the moment, around this track. But if anybody was quick enough to go quicker on wet tires rather than dry tires, they could kind of bend the rules a little bit and get themselves a free choice of tire at the start of the race. It's not going to happen, but it's an interesting thought nonetheless.
It certainly is, but I have to say we'll have to wait and see whether Lewis Welch's big master plan comes into effect as Andreas Dormeyer now makes his way down towards the next left-hander, soon to commence Sector 2. And as he does so, well, he's commenced Sector 2, he's heading down the stretch now between turns 11 and 12. Alfa Romeo, of course, looking to get their season, certainly carry on from where they've started. They've been absolutely superb. Obviously, first 3 races, Barry had taken victory, and naturally they'll want to continue that run, but obviously have yet to touch the podium properly. I mean, the podium in France was their first podium since Spa, Jack, which is going to prove to be very unfortunate for them if this trend continues. But naturally, Andreas Dormeyer, huge talent. They're going to need him certainly on a charge here today, because I've got to say, it's going to be a real close affair, certainly with the likes of McLaren and Mercedes and Williams breathing down your neck.
Yeah, they've really got to get their act together. So Jari Fitz was on a lap there, but just invalidated it in the last sector, has to bail into pit lane. So not ideal, but now Dormeyer's on a lap, as is Barry Burman as well. He begins his lap in his McLaren. We also have Chana Kinchi on an out lap as well. Josh Ida will be about to begin his lap in his McLaren. And as well, just behind him is the Mercedes of Jarno Opmeer, who's about to begin his Q2 attempt. So this is going to be interesting to watch now to see what the pace is going to be. Who's going to be in that bottom 5 at the end of Q2? Anyone's guess. But currently it's still Caraton at the top with his first run. Jake Benham is second at the moment on a 29.2. Lewis Welch on the inters, not a representative time. But we have now, Donoso's decided that he wants to go on the medium compound tyre. So the Renaults have opted for a different strategy. They're going to try get themselves in the top 10 on the medium tyres and get themselves the alternate strategy inside the top 10, which is very powerful if they can make it work, that is.
Yeah, it certainly is a very powerful strategy. Just seen Barry Burman go purple into Sector 2. We'll have to wait and see, Jack, as to whether that medium strat option does prove fruitful. Dormeyer just notching himself into P3. And that's a 10th, or just, should I say, 13 thousandths of a second, 30 thousandths of a second slower than Jake Benham, as we're now watching Burman make his way around the next left-hander now, down towards the final corner. And the McLaren looking to once again tickle the top end as he crosses the line. P1 with a 128.584. And I've got to say, a great lap indeed. Certainly at this stage, though, it could still be beat with just over 6.5 minutes remaining. But a great lap indeed from the fast Iranian.
Yeah, it looks like it, as Longa is going to come across the line to begin his lap, as Ida is going to go just behind, about 2/10, or a tenth and a bit behind Barry Burman, went purple in Sector 2. But Barry, an excellent last sector from him. So McLaren 1-2 at the moment. Burman and Ida, but here comes Opmeer, and he's only 7th on that lap. I think he backed out at the last moment there for Jarno, and he's just got himself a time on the board at the very least. But he's only 7th at the moment, and we'll wait to see what the medium tyres are going to do for the Renaults in this one. They're just on their laps at the moment, but looks like Jarno not too happy with his lap there.
No, I don't think so. He's very much not managed to set one that certainly would aid him throughout this race, obviously, and needs to get himself ideally into Q3 because he wants to try and park his car at the top end. Chanakinchi back again with another great time. P4, just over 3.5 tenths of a second off Barry Burramand, but quicker than that of, well, certainly that of the AlphaTauri in behind. And we'll have to wait and see, because Jake Bennett, of course, quick driver on his day, transferred from the Xbox platform, but he is now here on PC. And I've got to say, he's had a good introduction, Jack, to PC gaming, because he has been in the top end fighting with the likes of Dylan Warren, Nicholas Matteo, everyone battling for the top 10s.
Yeah, he's had a great debut in this one, so he's doing well so far now. Oh, Nicholas Longa, he validated in the last sector and he had to dive into pit lane at the very last second. And I hope if that was in the race, I think that could have been a bit dodgy from Longa, but nonetheless, he's in qualifying, he might get away with it. But Donoso managed to sneak himself in the top 10 on the medium tyres, so they'd be happy with that, but there's still lots of people behind that have not said it. And actually, the Mercs have split the strategy again, because Altmir's on the softs. Moreno's gone for the medium tyres, and he's about to finish his lap here through the last corner. Comes the Spaniard in the 25 car across the start-finish line. He goes into 9th, just behind Donoso on the medium tyres. So once again, Merck's strategy at play, and I wonder, has Jarno backed out of that lap, and now is he going to bolt on the medium tyres?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and interesting to see that they've both opted for well, it's a very different Q2 development. Not something we're used to seeing. Now, you have to wonder, we obviously witnessed the Mercedes strategy last week. Are we witnessing a change of mentality here, Jack? A change in the winds of how teams and drivers prepare for qualifying events and race events here in sim racing? Because, of course, they're always looking to try and push the boundaries, test new things, try and make it so they go for every optimal option possible. Could this be a change in the winds that they do try and go for maybe not so much the faster tyre, but look at it more in a strategy sense? Because there certainly seems to be a very methodical approach about this team at the moment.
Yeah, there really is, and my suspicions have been confirmed. Altmir switched onto the medium tyres, so yeah, they are thinking about the strategy, and that was obviously just running a set of tyres in for Jarno Altmir there on the soft tyre, just getting a lap in on the tyre and backing out just in the last sector. So it obviously didn't set his best time on them, but he still managed to secure himself a lap on them. So that's now a scrub set of tyres. Mercedes going for the medium tyre on this one. So this is an interesting development if they can get themselves in there. They're currently in at the moment, but remember, Altmir did that time that he's currently in P10 on the soft compound tyre. We've yet to see any times from Matteo Longa and Vallejo, as well as Yari Fitz. And Longa invalidated his time in the second to last corner, and he was looking pretty good. So he's not looking too bad. Idu is happy where he is. He's retired, and I don't think the McLarens will be making an appearance again. But I think Mercedes are kind of gambling here. They're trying to get themselves a little bit, secure themselves in the top 10. But this could be a little bit risky, George.
It could well be. I mean, I suppose the dream otherwise is that they get themselves into P11 at the latest. I have to say, we'll have to wait and see how this plans off for them. But certainly with 2 minutes left to go, it is an almighty risk. Certainly heading into the end of Q2. But we're going to watch with bated breath as Otmir now rounds the next left-hander. And he's on his outlap. And this, of course, is going to be a grandstand finish for qualifying here at the USA. Let's wait and see. The Flying Dutchman is going to need to do just that on these tyres, of course. Mediums, far from the optimal tyre in terms of speed. But if you're looking to utilise the strategy sense, as we have quite rightly discussed, it's going to certainly put them in a very good position, as we can now see Otmir coming around the next right-hander now. Very, very testing indeed. Moreno's out and about. Is he also out on mediums, Jack?
He's on softs. So this is a total switch up in the Mercedes strategy. Moreno obviously not happy with the medium runs. I reckon he doesn't think that they're going to safely make it in. So they're trying to at least get one car into Q3. I don't know if he's confident to go on the mediums, but they're completely switching the strategy up here at Mercedes. And Jarno Altmir now, if he can get himself in the top 10, then that's ideal from his point of view, and he's going to go for it now. He basically needs to hope that he gets a really tidy lap in here now, because if he doesn't get one in, then he's in danger of being knocked out. Lewis Welch is also on the medium compound tyre. But we've got Jari Fitz on the softs. Danger people like Nicholas Mateo, Nicholas Longe are still out of Q3 at the moment. We've got Ruben Vallejo as well. We know how quick that man is. He's on soft tires as well. So plenty of soft runners that could dent the hopes of Jarno Watmir as he is on his lap right now. If he can get in the top 10, it'll be ideal for him. And he's looking pretty good in that first sector at the moment, but it is a massive risk he's taking.
Oh, it's a huge risk, and as he now rounds turn 11, DRS will become active now as he punches it down the stretch and down towards turn 12. Now, this is when things start to get risky. The grip on the mediums, maybe not as decent as the softs, of course. Not as much stickiness on the surface of the tyre, not enabling you to get the maximum traction heading into some of these corners as he now utilises these yellow tyres round the next right-hander now. The time is up here in Q2. We're into injury time here at the United States circuit as we're now rounding the next left here. Now down towards the next right with our meet turn 16, 17 and 18. The Mercedes, the Black Arrow, looking to once again be in adulation once again to be battling for race wins. Jarno Watmir, the Flying Dutchman, looking to nestle his car up into the top 10 with an improved lap time. Here comes the Dutchman now, comes across the line. P10 is where he remains. Danger, danger, danger. Mateo Longe and Vallejo still yet to set a time, but don't forget Moreno and Lewis Welch. Watmir in danger of bowing out.
Yeah, I think because Moreno, remember, is currently out of Q3 at the moment, but remember, he's on the soft tyres and improving, so I think we could be seeing a very early exit for Jarno Watmir in Q2. He's in P10. He was about just 200ths off of Fabrizio Donoso, and Donoso is also currently just about making it in as Caraton splits the McLarens up front in P2. Here comes Donoso across the start-finish line. Where does he go? He stays where he is in P9, but we have to keep our eyes on Mateo, Vallejo and Moreno, who are about to improve, and they could knock Jarno Watmir out of Q3. Here they come. Jake Benham goes into second, and here they come across the start-finish line. It's going to be Vallejo in 13th, and it's not enough, but both Mercedes are out in Q2. They're happy with 11th and 12th, but Fabrizio Donoso makes it in on means, but both Mercs are out in Q2. Strategic call, I reckon, from Merc right there. Moreno backing out at the last second, but interesting stuff to watch right now as both Mercs have exited in Q2.
Absolute scenes here in the United States. Both Ferraris are out in Q1. Both Mercedes are out here in Q2. Absolute scenes here at the PSGL PC Championship. Jake Benham with the last gasp, notching his AlphaTauri into P2. Splits the McLarens. Caraton joins him as well. But absolute scenes here at COTA with the early dispatch of the two Mercedes. No Watmir, no Moreno heading into Q3. Here's a rundown of your final placings. Barry Burman, P1 here in Q2, a great lap indeed. Jake Benham returns here at P2 as well. P3 for Alvaro Caraton. Josh Idawu P4. Chana Kinchi in P5. Jari Fitz P6. Dario Iamulo P7. And Andreas Dormeyer P8. Nicholas Mateo P9. Fabrizio Donoso P10. Jarno Watmir, he will be on P11. Both Mercedes alongside each other, in fact, pretty much. 11 and 12. Nicholas Longe out as well, P13. Ruben Vallejo out. Both Pink Panthers out now. Lewis Welch in the Haas, P15. But interesting scenes, Jack. I don't think we quite saw this happening, but both Mercedes are going to be outside the top 10, but they are in, I suppose, effectively, in terms of tyre choice effects, pole position in that sense.
Yes, they are. They're the lead cars on the alternate strategy, which is exactly what they were thinking, I reckon. They called Danny Moreno in at the very last second when they knew that Watmir was secure in P11 and nobody was going to be able to improve. So a late strategic call from the Mercs, and they will be probably on the same strategy. But great job from Fabrizio Donoso. He's made it in, but he is actually going to be the lead car on the alternate strategy because he's got in on the medium tyres in the top 10.
It is indeed. I just can't call it, Jack. I just can't call it. It's unbelievable. Have your thoughts as well in the live chat, folks. We'll read out some of your comments as well as we go through. I just cannot believe what we've just seen. Both Mercedes out, both Ferraris out. A great opportunity for McLaren to strike back. Now remember, Barry Borman was left in the dust at France and of course had to battle just to secure some respectable points and at least a podium. But just think now, he can have his revenge here tonight, of course, at the United States circuit. I cannot believe what we're about to see. Could it be the case that the Mercedes can fight back through the race, utilise the outside top 10 strategy and fight their way to get a podium that way? It could all be a tactical manoeuvre, Jack. We simply don't know.
I think everything that Mercedes do is tactical. So it would have been a late call to make it in to the pit lane there. But I think they'll still be happy from where they're starting. If they'd got in a clean run on the softs earlier on, maybe they wouldn't have tried it. But I think they feel that the medium strategy is stronger than starting on the soft compound tire. But also, got to make the argument, is track position more key? It's always trying to balance track position with strategy. And Mercedes have felt that the medium strategy is stronger in this race. But the rest of these guys will be starting on the soft compound tire, of course, but McLaren are looking very strong at the moment. We've got, of course, both Williams are in as well. Carrots on. Nicholas Mateo was the man who knocked out both at the Mercs at the very death as well. So he's got Williams into this one. And as well, great to see Alfa Romeo back up kind of where they should be. Both Alfa Romeos have made it into Q3 at the hands of Dormeyer, and a great job as well from Jari Fitz. But a great job as well so far. He's looking very quick. Could be on for maybe a top 5. Chanakinchi looking very quick in the Haas today.
Yeah, Jari Fitz unfortunately donning, I believe, the same number as Andreas Dormeyer. So showing up on our list under the same banner as him. So do not be distracted, folks. One of them is Jari Fitz. But there's Josh Idawu heading around the initial couple of curves, down towards now the winding section, the Magnussen-Beckett's-like section, as you so eloquently put it, Jack, as he now exits around the next right into the next left pretty much straight away. You've got to be so careful when judging those bends because, of course, it's so hazardous. You get one mistake brushing the curb, it can send you off into obscurity, as now Welshman Josh Idawu comes down towards turn 11. And indeed, in the McLaren, of course, such a force they are this season potentially, with two big, certainly young names that certainly do look like the rising young stars in F1 esports, of course. Barry Burman looking to lock horns in the orange McLaren as well. Just think, if they get a P1 and a P2 on the grid order, what could this mean at the end of the race? Could we be seeing more strategical excellence from the McLarens this time, Jack?
Well, it remains to be seen, but we certainly have a great fight on our hands now, with the Mercs on the alternate strategies, the McLarens and the Williams both ahead in Q3. So it's literally going to come down to a strategic fight between all of those, and it's fantastic to see. Josh Idawu, he's going to be the first man to set a time. No, he isn't, because he's invalidated his time. He's going to come into the pit lane at the very last moment. So just trying to see who's going to be the man to set a time. It's going to be Chanakinchi in the Haas as he comes around the last corner, and he will put Haas at the top of the standings for now as he comes across the line. 29.1. That's definitely not the time that he would want, but it's a bankered time for him nonetheless. We know he can go quicker than that, but we have to keep our eyes on the rest of the field. As Barry Burman, surely the hot tip for pole position, begins his lap.
Yeah, he does indeed. Let's ride on board here with the Iranian. Of course, Barry Burman back with a vengeance, looking to right the wrong that was last week, of course, where he was faced under distinct pressure by both Mercedes, who pulled off a masterclass at France. Now Barry has got to pull off a masterclass here at the Circuit of the Americas. Comes round the next left now, through the next right here at Kota. Round the next left now, turn 10 beckons. As he rounds it now, a little bit of a kink in the road, but as he heads down towards turn 11 once again, just breaks in before the 50, just hightails the car round now, down towards the DRS board, and he will punch it. And as he does so, invalidated his lap time, as well as Dormeyer crosses the line into P1, Jack.
Yeah, it was an invalidation there for Barry Burman, and not what he wants in his first run, but at least he's got time, as it's currently an Alfa Romeo 1-2 as Jari Fitz goes to the top of the standings, 28.997, just about a couple of hundreds faster than Andreas Dormeyer. But for now, it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2 at the top of the timing sheets. But we'll have to wait to see if that's going to remain there as we look at the times here. Alvaro Carreton on the time at the moment, and he is not currently going faster than the Alfa Romeos, but I think if he keeps it tidy, he might be able to just nip in front if he keeps the consistent sectors up. This is what's happened mostly. You can't take a pole position by not having all the fastest sectors. If you just keep it consistently quick the whole way through, you can gain that time back. Here comes Alvaro Carreton then. He's nipped pole position at the very last moment on multiple occasions. Here he comes into the last corner then in the Williams, gets on the power, opens the DRS to the line then, and he goes to the top of the 28.801. And what is he doing?
A spin for his troubles? Surely not donuts at this stage, Alvaro. Unless he's
For a moment there, I was having a very worried think that he was going to drive backwards to the pit lane. But I'm not sure what was going on there for Alvaro Carreton. Maybe just a bit bored. But Williams 1-2 now, 28.9, Nicolas Mateo. But I had a horrible feeling he was going to drive backwards down the straight. I have seen that before on previous occasions. But maybe just a little celebratory donut from Alvaro Carreton.
Yes, I've got to say, incredible moves there by Alvaro Carreton, and great use of the shuffle indeed. A little bit of Michael Jackson, a moonwalk heading across the line, but it's superb indeed. Interesting to note though, Jack, both Alfa Romeo cars, Ps 3 and 4, both Williams' Ps 1 and 2. Two constructors at the top end of the constructor standings. Alfa, of course, on top, separated by 8 points to Williams. So could it be a straight fistfight? As I say that, Donoso has broken the spell. Incredible.
Yeah, he has, and this will be what Donoso needs to do is get himself as far up the grid as he can. Remember, he's starting on the medium compound tyres, so he's got a massive advantage the further up he starts. But a man who's looking very, very quick at the moment is Josh Idawu, purple sector 1 for the McLaren as he heads down towards turn 12, looking very good so far. If he can keep this up into sector number 2, he will come in just a moment's time, keeping it nice and neat and tidy on the curbs there. Into the slow sector, that is purple. Sector 2 as well, he's absolutely flying here. He's going to have a bit of traffic from Mateo, gets out of the way for him nicely into the slow corner. A little bit of a slip on the way through there, but manages to gather it together. Gets past the Williams once again, who had to cut the corner. But the long triple apex right-hander, Idawu looking very quick at the moment in sectors 1 and sectors 2. Doesn't invalidate his time in the last corner. No, he doesn't. Down towards the last corner. This is going to be your benchmark time from Josh Idawu across the start-finish line. He goes to a 28.5, smashes everybody out of the water, and his fastest time for Josh Idawu. That is a massive marker laid down to Barry Burman, and Josh Idawu looking very good at the moment.
Yes, with just under 4 minutes to go, Josh Idawu out of the darkness, hits it into the light. P1 with a 128.506 by the Reliant Welshman, that's for sure. He's been absolutely superb ever since he's been part of the McLaren team this season. Been up there for dancing, and he's there for fighting. P1 a 128.506, a superb time. Just under 0.3 of a second quicker than that of Alvaro Carreton. The battle for British supremacy in terms of constructors is on top right now, and it's certainly going to be an interesting feature to this United States Grand Prix. Amazing stuff. We're still waiting to hear indeed from 2 drivers as well. We've got Jake Benham still yet to nail a time. Dario Iamulo's out on an outlap. Not to mention Barry Burman still yet to hit a time himself. Both McLarens with an excellent opportunity to steal the show here today. Of course, like we said before, the guys at Mercedes struggling out of Q2. It could be a struggle, could be a strategy call. We'll have to wait and see, folks, during the race. But I have to say, excellent trim from Josh Idawu, showing his pure pace. And it'd be interesting to see now what Barry Burman can bring to the table.
Absolutely, yeah. We always know Barry's got a little bit left in the tank each time. He's on his way out of pit lane at the moment, I think, as he heads that orange McLaren. There he is. And the Williams also on the way out. This will be their final qualifying runs in Q3. Everybody coming out at the same time. And this is going to be very exciting stuff. But the man who really holds all the cards at the moment, no matter where he starts, in this one is Fabrizio Donoso. He's got the auto strategy, he's got the medium tyres underneath him. He might not be the quickest off the line, but if he's able to start third on the mediums, he's massively got an advantage heading into this one.
He certainly does, and I have to say this is a great opportunity for Fabrizio, and he's the fastest Renault car currently. In between him and his teammate, of course, Longuet was out in Q2, so Donoso here, the Chilean, looking to bringing the numbers in for the Renault team. As we know, watch Barry Burman heading around the next left before he reaches the long straight. This, of course, being on his outlap now. All the cars are out on track now, folks, bar Josh Idawu. And in the final 1.5 minutes, it's going to be a contest to see who can bring out the fastest lap time here before the end of the session. Now, naturally, with so many cars out on track, it's going to be a whirlwind to the finish. And with 1 minute 30, Jack, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to be on the top?
Oh, it's gonna be very, very close. I couldn't call it. I think it's gonna be a McLaren, but I couldn't tell you which one at this moment in time. Barry Burman, he's basically got one attempt. It's a hot lap now to try and get himself on pole position, but the first time will be set by Dario Iamulo in the Red Bull. He's kind of had a quiet one, snuck himself into Q3 in the Red Bull, and is now on a timed lap around his Circuit of the Americas circuit. But It's very close, but Josh Idaho's got a big margin, 0.3 of a second. Caraton's got a lot of work to do if he tries to get that up, but he has done it in the past at the death. He's taken pole position just before, multiple occasions actually, in this championship. He's managed to sneak with the final lap that he's managed to do, get himself into pole position, but remains to be seen whether he can do that today. But Barry Burman is on his hot lap right now, and we're going to be monitoring the sectors like a hawk.
Yeah, it certainly will be. Yamulo currently green in sector 1 and 2. Of course, looking to set his first official proper quick time, of course. Well, he did set one that was a second behind, nearly a second behind Idaho, but advantage that he go quicker this time. The Red Bull now going around the next right-handers, series of right-handers before he visits the next left. And this one, the final corner now, before he reaches the home straight round turn 20. And down the long stretch, DRS opens up, comes across the line, P5, knocks the Alfa Romeos down a peg or two. And Barry Burman will not be far behind either, comes down towards the next left. Time is up now, folks. This is it. And certainly now is the time to lay down the hammer. As we now witness Burman, he's gone purple in sector 2, Jack, as he now rounds the next right, down towards the next left. Can he do enough to beat his teammate Idaho? Will it be a McLaren 1-2 as he comes up now towards the next hexagonal corner, or the pentagonal corner, whatever you want to call it, round turn 17 and 18, down towards turn 19 now, cuts through the corner, lovely, smooth as silk. Barry Burman looking to at least try and tickle the top end once again across the line, DRS line, goes to P101, 28.439, goes 6,700 quick seconds faster, whatever you want to call it, just over or just under a tenth of a second. Magic, Jack, absolutely magic.
Yeah, he pulled it out when he needed it. Chana Kinchi into third place in the Haas. Well, I'm keeping an eye on Caraton at the moment. He's flying in sector 1. He's gone purple in sector number 1, and he comes around the next corner. Dormeyer into fifth. Can Caraton snatch it? Yes, he can! At the death, he's done it again, the Spaniard. Alvaro Caraton will start the US Grand Prix from pole position. I told you to watch him, and he's done it at the death for the third time this season.
Well, hearts were stopped here in the final dying seconds here of qualifying, and Alvaro Caraton in the Williams, absolutely sensational, and has literally landed a major blow to that of the McLaren team. But look at this, what a contest. Caraton on top end, his teammate Nicholas Matteo down in P5, Williams in the fight here, and McLaren up there as well. Amazing stuff. Let's have a look at the final, certainly the final review after Q3. Alvaro Caraton, a stunning time there, stuns Barry Burman there, who's reduced to P2 alongside his teammate Josh Idaho, who's in P3. Chana Kinchi in P4 for Haas. A great lap time indeed, great session for him. Nicholas Matteo P5 for Williams. Andreas Dormeyer P6, Donoso in P7. Yamulo in P8. Yari Fitz in P9 with Jake Benham starting from P10 with no time. But Jack, my word, what a session. McLaren just weren't quite there to do it. We thought Barry had it in the bag, but Caraton, he brought that extra something special. Williams looked like a force here today, as well as McLaren. It's going to be surely a tale of two halves.
I had a smile on my face the whole way through qualifying. Went to such an interesting Q2, and then that at the very end. And Caraton is the master of pulling it out when he needs to pull the time out. It is fabulous to watch. He got purple sector 1, had a mediocre sector 2, but absolutely nails that sector 3 together to bring it just a hundredth of a second ahead of Burman, who starts on the front row. Josh Idaho would rather get into the second row, but only 800ths off of pole position, so still very much in the fight. But just settling for this one. We've got Caraton and Burman on the front row, the Mercedes in 11th and 12th, and Preschneider in 17th. So no idea what's going to happen. It's a dry race, so just don't turn your screens off, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us.
Jack, are we going to be talking about this being the race of the season? Because I have got a sneaking suspicion we could be on the tail end, or certainly in the midst of certainly something we could be talking about for months, years to come, because this certainly has teed up a sensational race with Mercedes starting Ps 11 and 12. You've got McLaren at the top end with two quality drivers, with Barry Burman at the helm of it as well, alongside his teammate Josh Idaho. And then you've got the Williams team of Caraton, who stole the show there in Q3, with Nicholas Matteo just behind as well. It just gives us certainly a motor feast, really, for the race that's to come. Are we talking about a sensation of a race here today? Potentially the best or the race of the season?
Yeah, I really think so. It's teed up for that, isn't it? I hope it doesn't disappoint, but I don't think we could expect anything less. It is Bossman's birthday, so the drivers have certainly put on a show for him today.
Happy birthday, Big C!
Happy birthday, Connor. This is going to be some race that we're going to have right here. So I'm also rubbing my hands looking at the tyre strategies right here as well. Donoso in 7th on the mediums. And once again, Mercedes splitting the strategy. Jarno Watmir is going long. He's on the hard compound tyre. Moreno's on the mediums. So once again, we're seeing that split strategy. But Jarno Watmir is going to be in full conservation mode. And he's going to be a rocket in the last maybe quarter of this race. So don't expect too much from him in this early phase of the race. But this is going to be brilliant when he switches onto those faster tyres at the end. But nobody else is going on the hard tyres. Mercedes are trying something. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, Otmir, the sole man on the hard tyres. That is unreal. And I have to say, a statement to say the least. We know that they now like to utilise alternate strategies. They like to make sure that both their cars are in the fight. And I have to say, look at this as well. Donoso, medium tyres on the offing. Now, has he pulled a masterstroke? Has the Chilean? I know we spoke about him, Jack. Medium tyres in P7. Every chance to typify this race. There are so many options for victory here. I think the one disappointing factor is that we don't have a Ferrari in the top 10.
Yeah, I think so. If we had Preschnader in the mix as well, I think this could be really interesting. But don't count him out. He has driven through and got a result from nothing in the past. So the Preschnader is going to be he's going to be on the hunt right now. Basically, this is his championship hinges on the result today. Now, of course, in order to finish first you have to finish. So if he gets across that start-finish line in the points, that'll be a win for him. But new colours for Barry Bormans in McLaren. He's on the front row. Caraton gets his 3rd pole in PSGL, and this is teed up to be just magical.
Jack, I'm on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait to call this one, and unreal. I have to say, as they line up now on the grid, and I have to say, brace yourselves, folks. First of all, as they now line up, it's anyone's race here, and probably one of the only times I've effectively been able to properly call that. As we're now ready to get started, 1st light, 2nd light, 3rd light, 4th light, the 5th light. And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Alvaro Caraton on the inside. 2 McLarens bursting on the inside. There you can see Josh Idawu, and joined by his teammate Barry Boromand as well. But as they exit the bend, Boromand wheel to wheel. Here with none other than Caraton. In behind Idawu. And drama in the back with Nicholas Matteo and Chanakinchi. Donoso in the fight as well. The Red Bull going wheel to wheel. Dario Yamulo. In comes Omir as well on a flyer. On the hard tyres. Amazing stuff. As we get this race underway, still Yamulo and Donoso wheel to wheel. Yamulo on top. Amazing start to this Grand Prix, Jack.
Oh, it was tight at the front, wasn't it? But it's getting very hasty behind as Moreno's trying to make up places to stick with his teammates. Goes up the inside of 2 cars, gets Longue. Now side by side with Benham, can't do, but Otmir is trying to get as many places as he can. He's up a few places as he tries to chase after Jari Fitz and Donoso. He's not made up the ground that he needed to early on, but Otmir's done a great job now side by side. Donoso and Jari Fitz right in front of Jarno Otmir here, and Donoso just about comes out on top right there, but Moreno not able to make use of those medium tyres. He's now stuck behind Jake Benham. Otmir on the hard tyres, doing exactly what he needs to. Yari throws a massive dive bomb on Donoso into the left-hander and makes it stick, but that gives Otmir the opportunity now. He's trying to make these hards last a bit longer than the rest of the field, but Moreno, he'd be kicking himself. He didn't make use of the mediums off the start. Otmir managing to get in front of him.
He did indeed, and just look at him, stalking him like a hawk indeed. Otmir is right behind Donoso, and what a fight we've got teed up here, and certainly in prospect. The speed is still on the hard tyres as they come up towards turn 1 now. Yamulo up 3 places, and certainly Dormeyer up 3 places as well. We see the AlphaTauri there. I think of Jake Benham, who had a little bit of a nose too on Jarno Otmir as they come through the next winding section. Still Caraton on top, Barry Burman in P2, Idawu in P3, Chanakinchi holding on to P4. As our timing tower now starts to sort itself out. It's been a phenomenal start to this Grand Prix, but we did lose Nicholas Matteo, Jack. He had a spin at the start.
Yeah, he speared off in the S section, and that unfortunately spells an end to his US Grand Prix very, very early on in this race, which is a shame for Nicholas, but he's unfortunately out of this race. Now, that's a little mistake from Otmir there, and Jake Benham will see this now as his opportunity to try and get past the Dutchman here. ERS enabled, overtake on, and Jake Benham is going to try and get one over on the F1 Esports World Champion. Now, there is a compound difference, of course, but he won't mind. Down the inside he goes of Jarno Otmir, and Jake Benham moves in front into P9, and now it's back to the way it was. Otmir in 10th, Moreno on his tail. But I'm interested to know what Mercedes are thinking now. They're going to work together, of course, but they don't have the clean air they had last time.
No, they certainly don't, and Nicholas Mateo is out, so now Williams are one-legged here in the United States Grand Prix, here at the Circuit of the Americas. Not the ideal start for Williams, but they still have a car on top, and Alvaro Carreton has now managed to burst a little bit of pace here, averaging half a second between him and Barry Burremand right now, and he needs to maintain that delta gap as well. It seems to be increasing all the time. He's not too worried, but you have to wonder whether Burremand is just saving, not wasting anything. He's in the train. It's usually when we hit the first pit stops that we start to see a major difference. As we know, look at this field. Jakey B now getting so close to the back of Fabrizio Donoso. An incredible racing prospect. Benham on a flyer. Here currently in P9, the AlphaTauri looks absolutely menacing on the softs as he now makes his way through the mid part of Sector 1, now heading into Sector 2 proper, into Turn 9, rounding Turn 10. The AlphaTauri has been absolutely scintillating. He's overtaken the Flying Dutchman. He now wants to try and spoil the Chilean Fabrizio Donoso's day as they come down towards Turn 11, and you firmly believe he'll do it here, Jack?
He's got to make use of the soft tyres early on right now, as he'll have the DRS this time. By the first time, we'll see this now, and Jake Benham's going to absolutely eat him alive down the straight here. Here comes Jake Benham. No defense put up at all by Fabrizio Donoso, and through in front goes Jake Benham. But now it gets interesting, because now we have the fight of the alternate strategies. Donoso now leading the train of Otmir, Moreno and Longue, and all these guys on the alternate strategy. But it is Donoso, even though he's lost those places, you couldn't expect it for him to hold on to them. He's on the soft tyres, but Otmir, ideally, both Mercs need to get in front of him. Yeah,
Jarno Otmir now, and realising, obviously, that he's on the hard tyres. He's going long, remember, folks, so it's in his interest to allow Moreno through. And if you want to have a reminder of the tyre compounds, here they are. You can see that Otmir hards, Moreno on medium. Surely the Flying Dutchman is going to let the Spaniard Danny Moreno go through, not waste that tyre compound. But I've got to say, give credit to Otmir. He's retaining a good level of pace here on the slower tyre. The compound is certainly working for him right now, and I'm sure it'll only get better as he makes his way through the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can see up front now Burman's putting pressure on Alvaro Carreton with the DRS, of course. He was about 0.2 of a second up, but there's a kind of a three-car train forming down. The McLaren's about to maybe start ganging up on the Williams here, and Chanakinchi's hanging in there nicely. Oh, he nearly lost at the top of the hill, as I mentioned him. Great save from the Turkish driver. That might actually drop him in a bit of trouble with Andreas Dormeyer. But it is getting feisty up here now, as Borman's got the benefit of the DRS. Carreton, we know, is good at looking after the ERS. But let's see if Borman's going to be able to do anything. He's closing now towards turn 12, shows himself in the mirrors, trying to maybe force him into an error. But Borman is just trying to force him into an error right now, I think. But he's very happy to stay where he is at the moment.
Yeah, we're just looking now. Andreas Dormeyer is up there fighting with Chanakinchi still. It's nothing separates them at this moment in time. 2.5 tenths of a second the difference as they round the next left-hander, and certainly it looks like Dormeyer is going to want to try and post an unrelenting figure upon this Haas car that looks like it might be just losing a little bit of the apexes here. We'll have to wait and see whether Chanakinchi can hold off the pressure, as in front of him he's got Josh Idawu to contend with, and I have to say, to try and keep up with drivers of Idawu's quality is no mean feat. And as they round this start-finish line and in through to lap 5 of 28, already 5 laps in, folks, with the DRS activated now, 2 laps previous, it's going to certainly stir up a potential battering of a contest as they come around the next right-hander. Just look at Burman now, literally clawing at the delta time between him and Carreton as they round the next right-hander through the next left, once again winding through the Magnussen-Beckett style corners here at the USA, and still 2 McLarens on the podium positions. They're in absolute dreamland at the moment here, Jack.
Yeah, they really are, but Caratal is also looking after his ERS very, very well. Similar levels there between the both, about 80% charge. But you can see, I'm checking back on the Mercs. Jarno Watmir, he's obviously having to push on pretty well here to try and keep up with Donoso. But Danny Moreno is really looking after that ERS. He could get past if he wanted to, and I think there could be a swap between the Mercs here in 10th and 11th. Here comes Moreno in the overtake mode, streams past Jarno Watmir, and now it'll be Moreno's turn to have a go at Donoso. He's on the same strategy. He can maybe just carve a path for Jarno Watmir, but now this is great stuff because the Renaults are now sandwiching the Mercs, and Longway could be maybe a spanner in the works for these two.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether Donoso will want to try and slow it down, give his teammate an opportunity to make some moves. Of course, I've got to say, Longay and Donoso sharing the same compound, so there's not going to be a lot of benefit to any team orders there for Renault, but certainly they can cause a stir here between them and the Mercedes team. And remember, we've witnessed so much history between that of the Mercedes drivers and the Renault drivers before. Longay and Otmir have had their fair share of brutal contests in the past, I'm sure. As they're both competitive human beings, they're both going to want to certainly leave it all on the circuit here today as they come around the next left-hander here at turn 1. And look how close Moreno's getting to Fabrizio Donoso's rear wing as they come into the next right-hander now, into sector 1, into sector 2 proper. And the Black Arrow looking to get closer and closer here on the Renault. Look at Longay on Otmir here, really right in the rear. It's going to be a case of a Mercedes v Renault tussle here between both teammates of each car. It's going to be absolutely incredible. They round the next left now. The Renault still on top that of Fabrizio Donoso. In behind as well, you got Moreno. There's literally a contest. Moreno does not want to be held up here, Jack, as they round the next left-hander now. Surely the Viper's got to strike here as they come down the straight, and certainly with DRS active. Remember, Fabrizio has lost his DRS, so he's not going to be able to utilize it to defend against the Spaniard Danny Moreno. The machine down the inside, defensive goes to Donoso. Brilliant, I gotta say. Otmir nearly became collateral damage and all that as well. Very near wing-to-wing touching, but very close call indeed, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. Longay is really trying to get past Otmir through. He's going to have a go on the inside. No, he can't quite do it. But I tell you what, there is no love lost between Longay and Otmir. They've had fierce fights in the past, and these two will go at it, hammer and tong right here. But they've also got the likes of Lewis Welch is watching from a distance to see if these guys are going to have a tussle, as in comes Josh Idawu from second place, and he will take the first pit stop for these two. From third place, sorry. He takes the first pit stop for the Softrons. We're in the pit window for those right now. But Mercedes versus Renault, don't take your eyes off this one. This is Grudez on Longway on Otmir up the inside into turn number 1. Side by side they go. Otmir still on the inside as they come around the S section. Longway is he in front. They go towards the S section. Longway is in front of Jarno Otmir, and he's trying to put a spanner in the works for Moreno's chances here. He will now chase after Moreno, and Donoso, I would wager, is going to try and back him up into it. This is really intriguing stuff here at the US Grand Prix.
Yes, advantage Renault. Longay putting a spike in the Mercedes dream here, and naturally Donoso can be a nuisance for that of Danny Moreno, bringing Longay into play. Both of them on medium tyres. It's going to be a straight fight. Otmir now in danger of losing out to Lewis Welch, who has also got hard tyres on, medium tyres on, should I say, now challenging that of the medium tyre of Jarno Otmir as they come in on the inside. A battle once again as we're seeing the two of them clash there. The Haas of Lewis Welch going wheel to wheel with the Flying Dutchman Jarno Otmir, wheel to wheel, down through the next right. Lewis Welch unrelenting. Neither's Jarno. The Flying Dutchman saves his bacon, stays in P11. So close. The fight has been thrilling and intoxicating, Jack.
Yeah, this could have been a great call from Josh Idawu to pit early to get himself out of this kind of idea here, as in comes Barry Burman. He pits for McLaren as well, and now we have all the sufferers apart from Alvaro Carreton. So Burman's going for the undercut on Carreton here, but Moreno is trying desperately to get past Donoso up towards turn 1. Donoso going slightly defensive up towards turn 1. No overtake on for Moreno just yet, but he's watching and waiting in the wings. Longay getting super close to the back of that Merc as well. But how about Lewis Welch trying his luck on Jarno Otmir that time? He's on the same strategy as the car in front, so he's in position quite well at the moment, so he just needs to sit and wait and hope that these guys come together. Moreno is all over the back of Donoso at the moment, but if he cannot afford to try a move, that won't happen because Longay will pick up those pieces. But this is just the strategic stuff that we love to watch here, and this is setting the stage for a fantastic F1 esports season this year.
It certainly is, teeing it up, that's for sure, Jack. And I got to say, it's a pleasure to watch indeed. What a fight this has been. I know there's maybe not the level on the line of F1 Esports, but here at PSGL, everything matters as we're now watching Danny Moreno, the Spaniard this time. He takes on Fabrizio Donoso down the outside, going into turn 12. And the Mercedes and the Renault still wheel to wheel. They clash, they ankle tap, but Danny Moreno a late break into the next right hander in turn 13. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Danny Moreno can now have clear air. He's got plenty of time. 3 seconds the difference between him and Dormeyer. Amazing moves heading into Sector 3.
Yeah, he needs to do that, and also had to open the steering to give him the room through there, so that he was watching the mirrors, giving him plenty of racing room. But now, I wonder, could there be a swap between the Renaults here? I think Longa's got the pace to chase him down, so I wonder, will Donoso let him through here down the straight as they come down towards turn number 1? No swaps between the Renaults just yet, but Jarno Opmeer, he is sticking with them. It's exactly what he needs to do to look after those tyres, stay in the DRS. But this is not over. This is a full-on scrap between Merck and Renault. And just an update on the McLarens, they've come out next to each other, and Burman is on the hards. Idabu's on the hards, but Idabu has nearly actually almost managed to come out in front of Barry, just about half a second there between them. But now the McLarens, I'm sure, will work together so they can get the undercut on our leader, Alvaro Carreton, who's still out there at the moment.
Yep, certainly. We'll have to wait and see whether McLaren's strategy is pulled off here. We're just witnessing now, once again, still the Mercedes and the Renaults going at each other, but Moreno might have found a little bit of breathing room. He has managed to pull a little bit of a gap on Fabrizio Donoso, as we're now witnessing them heading down the stretch. We've lost Tom 97 as well, Tom Martinez, one of the Ferraris out of the race. It certainly has not been a day to their delight, as we're now seeing Nicolas Longue challenging and taking Fabrizio Donoso. Team orders here at Renault. He's going to let Longue go and try and challenge Danny Moreno. Is that their thinking, Jack?
I think so. So he's going to try and chase him down, get himself back in DRS, but crucially Moreno's opened out a second over Longue, so that he won't have the benefit of that DRS, and Moreno's been looking after that car, looking after the ERS very, very nicely, that he can open that gap. There's our first time penalty of the day of Andreas Dormeyer. Carreton's still carrying on, and he's going quite long on this strategy at the moment, and there was an early stop for McLaren, but Dormeyer and Yumulo peel into the pit lane, so Moreno will move into second, Longue into third, Donoso into fourth, and vice versa as they move up the positions. But I tell you what, Lewis Welch is not letting go of the back of Jarno Opmeer's Merc at the moment. He's trying his best to get through. There's just no way through past this, past the F1 Esports champion, but it's showing what Lewis Welch can do.
It certainly is. You look at him right there, right in the rear of Jarno Opmeer. The Flying Dutchman knows exactly what Lewis Welch is all about. He is an absolute mastermind on a pad. And have you got news for us, Jack?
No, Vallejo just went into the back of Lewis Welch right there, and he's hit the wall in sector number 2. Really unlucky for Ruben right there. Just got it sideways into there. That's going to cost him a huge chunk of time. He was on the back of Lewis Welch there. Just went into the back of him, spun into that wall, broke the wing, and that's going to knock him out of contention, unfortunately. But this might work in the favour now. Philip Preschnader is there in the DRS train of the cars in front. He still has an opportunity here to try and get some points back, but he still has an uphill climb to try and get some points here for Ferrari. One Ferrari is out, so all the hopes lie on the shoulders of Philip Preschnader.
They certainly do. He's in P7 at the moment, obviously subject to pit stops, folks. There he is, currently on our screens, and needs to try and move his way through. There's Philip Preschnader. He's up 10 places at the moment. Obviously, that's due to the pit stops taking place, but he's in a train of cars. He's got Lewis Welch right ahead of him there, as well as Joe Hannon, who's down in P8. Julian Naumann in behind him as well. So still a vast collective of cars as they round the next left-hander, and Carreton is boxed.
He has, but I tell you what, he very nearly crashed in the pit lane there. He went a little bit too hot on the pit entry and was inches from the wall on the way in, but he's managed to get it stopped onto the medium tyres. He goes, and he's gone very long on that strategy. He is going to come out behind the McLarens, I think, here. Up towards turn 1 they go. There go the McLarens of Barry Burman and Josh Idawu, and they've managed to get in front on that undercut, but crucially now, Carreton is avoiding the hard tyres, and he's gone onto the medium compound tyres. He has a faster compound underneath him, but he has lost that crucial track position to the McLaren. So at the moment, net race leader Barry Burman.
Yeah, and what Otmia needs as well is for that train of cars in the midst between them. Obviously, you've got the likes of Julian Naumann, not forgetting Joe Hannon, Philip Presnader, and Lewis Welch. He needs them to hold up the McLarens as well, so he can actually really push on these hard tyres, utilise them to their maximum, take them as deep into the race as possible, slip on the soft tyres and go for glory at the last minute. The Flying Dutchman really needs to pull it off now. Lap 11 of 28. Look how close he's getting to Fabrizio Donoso. A great chance for Otmia to at least exact vengeance here on the Renault team. And as they ran the next right-hander, just look at the delta gap between Donoso and Longuet. Just over 1 second of delta that separates the pair of them. And you could there see in the distance Moreno leading the contingent of cars around. Could it be the case that Donoso should have let Longuet out earlier?
Could be, but what Donoso's doing right now is backing up Otmir because he and the guys behind, he knows that they've got a little bit more pace, so he's trying to hold them off as best he can. Longuet is knocking on the door of DRS of Moreno. He's trying to get in there, but he can't quite do it. But is this up the opportunity now for Jarno Otmir up towards turn 1? Donoso's going defensive into turn 1. No move on for the Dutchman yet. He gets very close on the brakes, but he has to watch his mirrors for that Haas behind, and he cannot afford to go wide in any corner because Lewis Welch will pick up those pieces, and you can see right there, cruising Longuet is just nipping into DRS of Danny Moreno. It's exactly what he needs to do, but Moreno's got more ERS to try and eke that out. It's very, very intriguing stuff here at the US Grand Prix, and Nicolas Longuet has oh, there is a disaster for Presnader. He is disconnected from the session, and that it may have spelled an end to his championship lead, because at the moment Boerman will take it if he manages to finish ahead of him, which is not what he needs at all in this race. And you can see Moreno and Longuet very, very close together. Here comes Otmir on Donoso. Donoso goes defensive in the middle of the road, and it's the inside line for Otmir this time, down towards turn 12. It makes it easy. Up the inside, Otmir into third place, and now his hard tyres will be coming into effect now.
They certainly will. The hard tyres being utilised by Jarno Otmir, feeling the full effects now, heading into lap 13 of 28 very shortly. And I have to say, an amazing contest we've had so far. We've yet to have a look at the McLarens. We've sort of taken it from the net race leaders right now, because we've been watching this really thrilling encounter between that of the Mercedes and the Renaults. It's been a thrilling fight, to say the least. Welcome to COTA, folks, here at the PSGL PC Championship. And you're absolutely right. Going back to Philip Presnader, Jack, obviously, given the point situation, there's literally nothing that separates him and Barry Burman. 6 points is all that Barry needs in order to level the championship. And as things stand, if Jarno Otmir can improve as Jake Benham lands a 3-second time penalty, he can also be brought into the race, as well as Josh Idawu, who is also in that title fight. There is just so many possibilities after this outstanding race.
Yeah, so Philip is going to drop basically to the back if he manages to connect back, because Boerman's is about to pass his Ghost on track right about now, and that'll spell the end of Presnader's championship lead for now. And Caraton has dragged himself into the DRS of the McLarens as well, so it's getting even more interesting to look at now, because Caraton is on a faster compound of tyre, and the McLarens, of course, on the hard tyres, trying to go along and working with each other. So we're getting the first indication of what the team is going to be like, of Idawu and Boerman, and Idawu just sticking in behind his teammate right now. But Caraton is trying to put a spanner in the works. Here he comes in the DRS of Josh Idawu. Idawu goes to the middle of the road. Caraton backs off. He goes for the inside, lunges up the inside of Josh Idawu, and Caraton gets it stopped. Idawu with the cutback line into sector 2, gets a car length in front. A big lockup for Caraton on the inside line, but Josh Idawu just manages to hang on for now, defends the inside, and the left-hander beautifully held by Josh Idawu. But Caraton's desperate to get in front. He's got to get in front to make these mediums work, but the McLarens are really working well together at the moment.
Yes, team synergy is certainly of the moment here at the United States Grand Prix. Amazing indeed. But you might think that Caraton will get another chance to bite here round the next left-hander as Dormeyer passes the Ghost of Philip Presnader. Also, Lewis Welch manages to dispatch Donoso and move up to P4, but here comes Caraton, a potential late move as Josh Idawu shuts the door in late lunge, and indeed a phenomenal overtake there by the Spaniard of Alvaro Caraton. Absolutely sensational, and he makes his way through the winding section. Another 3-second time penalty for Andreas Dormeyer, but let's take a moment to appreciate that diving maneuver that was absolutely executed to perfection. Not a lot of contact, but a hell of a lot of move. That was absolutely brilliant, Jack.
No prisoners taken by Alvaro Caratoni. He was coming through like a steam train up the inside into turn 1, but now he's got to try and dispatch a Barry Burmant, which is going to be an even harder task. Josh Idawood kind of licking his wounds at the moment, back in there just behind. But you can see now Caraton's going to try and dispatch this second McLaren up in front of him. Net race lead, of course, right in front of him, and the fresher compound of tyres. But we got to wonder, are those mediums going to go off? Can he look after them for another 14 laps? We're not quite sure if he's going to be able to do that, but nonetheless, this is incredible to watch so far, and it's getting, of course, heading in towards the pit stop phase for the mediums very shortly, and we're going to see Moreno, Longue, and the Co come into the pit lane very, very shortly. Blisters on all those medium tyres, but there's a disaster for Longue, not what he needed, 3-second penalty, and that will drop him down the order. That is exactly what he didn't need to do. He was in the fight for the lead. Now the Mercs are back in power in this race.
Yeah, but Longue can still be a little bit of a thorn in the side of Jarno Watmir. He can still hold up the Flying Dutchman and try and prevent him scoring big points here today, because not forgetting there's still big points in the offing for Mercedes. They still have Moreno at top spot, obviously subject to the pit stops being taken, of course. We've still got plenty of cars that are yet to box. It's going deep into the race, around 7 cars that have yet to enter the pit lane, and that, of course, is your top 7 here in this Grand Prix. As you figure right now, lap 15 of 28, we are within the final half of a race left here in this United States Grand Prix, and as we're now witnessing Otmir now heading down the next stretch now, he's going to be in DRS here of Nicolas Longue as they come down now towards turn 12. He's going to try and get as close as possible. Longue now potentially backing off here, allowing the Flying Dutchman to get closer and closer. He's within near enough half a second now, and Jarno Otmir very shortly reigniting the battle.
Caraton down the inside of Burman, and he does the job again. Great overtake by Caraton on the inside of turn 12. Late braking, got it done, and now he can try and open the gap as much as he can. He's got to try and minimize the deficit that he will lose to Moreno and Longue when they come into the pit lane. But Caraton is on a mission today. He wants that first win. He hasn't got it this season, came so many times in second place, but has not managed to convert it into a win. But this is his best chance yet.
You have to wonder whether Connor has slipped him a fiver or something to say, look, come on, get my prediction in the bag here. But Caraton certainly going the right way about it. 2 auspicious moves throughout this race, which has been absolutely thrilling as they hightail up towards turn 1 now. Literally nothing separates them as we're now witnessing Barry Burman, who's obviously looking to try and strike back here on the Williams car as they come into the winding section in Sector 1. Incredible stuff indeed between these 3. The McLaren and the Williams, long in their history have they held and certainly fought together here in the circuits of Formula 1. There is Donoso, who is now very much in the sight of Alvaro Caraton. Now Caraton will be within DRS attack now as they head down towards the next left-hander. It's now is the time to open up the car, take advantage here as Donoso seems to be extremely slow.
Yeah, he hasn't pitted yet either. You got to remember that. So he's going to have no answer to Alvaro Caraton here with the DRS, and Donoso's not even going to try and fight this. Here comes the Spaniard and drifts past that Renault of Fabrizio Donoso, and through he goes, Alvaro Caraton. Now he's got clean air to push on, and the only cars in front of him now are Moreno, Longue, and Otmir, who have yet to pit, of course, and Otmir will lead this race at some point. He's all over the back of Longue at the moment. Longue is agonizingly close to getting to DRS, but has been able to do it as Burman sends it up the inside of Donoso in the left-hander, and he gets through as well, chasing after Caraton. But now we head into lap number 17 of 28. There's not a lot left to go. These guys are trying to go on to the soft tyres at the very end, and they're going to drop further down the order, going to side their way through Idamu up the inside as they go. Well, actually, that was Donoso coming into the pit lane. He finally pits from that position. He's going to drop a long way down, but he'll have the fresher tyres of anybody on the circuit when he comes in. But crucially for Alvaro Caraton, he's broken DRS on Barry Burman. Now he can chase after, build the gap as much as he can for when those 3 in front of him pit.
Yeah, they certainly will. Just look at Otmir there, flinging it around the bends here of Sector 1 into Sector 2 now. He's closing up on Longue all the time, and you have to wonder whether the Mercedes will operate once again in tandem and open up the door here on Nicolas Longue for a potential overtake for Jarno Otmir. The Dutchman now comes up towards the next left-hander at turn 11, and surely his chance will come knocking to once again certainly go wheel to wheel with that of Nicolas Longue, the Frenchman and the Dutchman who have done this before. They have fought together down at Monaco, and they're going to do it here once again at this circuit here at the Americas, but not this time. Longue holds on, utilising the DRS beautifully there, holding back that of Jarno Opmeer, who is going to be left there wanting once again for at least another lap. But he's on the hard tyres, he's going the long strategy, he doesn't have to panic all too much.
No, he doesn't. He's really nipping at the heels of Nicholas Longue, but Longue, thankfully, he'll breathe a sigh of relief that he's finally got DRS on Moreno. But Alvaro Carreton is closing into him like a steam train. He's coming for him, and these guys are going to be surely pitting shortly. In comes Moreno, and Longue follows him at the same time as they head into the pit lane. Now Jarno Opmeer will carry on and lead the US Grand Prix, but we're going to see where these guys are going to come out after this pit stop. It'll be soft tyres for Moreno and soft tyres for Longue at the same time. But you'll see Buraman Aidimu goes through, and it could be now that Longue might get held a little bit as he waits for Moreno. As they come out of the pit lane, they're going to drop out of the top 10, I would think. They're going to just drop behind Jari Fitz and Lewis Welch. It's going to be tight with Lewis Welch up towards turn 1. That is a genuine position for Lewis Welch. He's done the undercut on Longue, and Lewis Welch is now side by side with Moreno through the S section, but Moreno just about gets him. But great strategy by Haas right there. But Lewis Welch has got himself a genuine penalty for Moreno as well, and that will cost him big time as well. You can show he was pushing on. He'd only had 2 warnings, but he lost it there, trying to absorb the pressure from Lewis Welch. But Lewis Welch has put enough pressure on him to get himself a penalty. Yeah, he's got a penalty as well himself, though. Lewis Welch, have to see how that's factored in at the end of the race. But sterling work by the Haas, that's for sure. Brilliant indeed. And as things are stacked right now, Opmeer still in P1, but Carreton, who has currently got the cards in his hand right now, the hands are stacked in that favour of the Williams team, as we're now witnessing that of Lewis Welch once again hightailing it down towards the next left-hander, still chasing Danny Moreno, and soon that gap is still very, very close. Dario Yamulo now starting to try and close here on Chanakinchi. Nothing between these either as they round the next right-hander as well. And once again, the hexagonal corner, P16, 17, 18, round towards 19 now. And the Haas and the Red Bull going at it here once again, as we're also witnessing at the top end, Aizu getting right in the coattails of his teammate Barry Burman. They need to let fly now, McLaren. If they want to win this race, they need to close on Carreton ASAP. What they need to do is try to get him to push to wear out his tyres, and that will be, of course, ideal for them. As Moreno, he's trying to make up positions here, gets past Jari Fitz. Lewis Welch follows him through on the inside of turn 1. Moreno trying to push on here to try and minimise the time loss to his teammate Jarno Opmeer. Of course, he'll want to get one over, of course, but that penalty will have cost him a lot of time. Longue is caught up in this train as well as he gets on the back of Jari Fitz, runs into the back of him and sends one up the inside of the background as well, and Longue follows him through at the same time. But it is lap 19 of 28. Expect Jarno Opmeer in very, very soon. But Carreton is right on the limit of what these medium tyres will do. He needs to bring them a few more laps. They'll be right on the edge of what they can do. It is possible, but he'll have to really look after them because the McLarens will watch in the background. Yeah, here comes Dario Yamulo now on Chanakinchi. This is for P6, and a lovely move down the inside. Still wheel to wheel though. Still unable to shake Chanakinchi, but manages to get the move done. And brilliant there for the Red Bull team. Of course, they're still here and fighting for points. You can see there in the distance Julian Naumann down in P14, who's currently battling with Joe Hannon and Donoso, who of course is already boxed. As we're now watching further up, you can see there's still the McLarens trying to relentlessly hammer down upon Carreton. They're trying to bring that delta gap down rapidly here. Carreton doing extremely well, has done well, and Opmeer is pitted. Opmeer in the pitch, Jack. Yeah, he's coming in now. He's got 8 laps on those soft tyres. He'll be absolutely rapid. He couldn't bring them any longer, and he will now drop down the order, and he will of course drop behind his teammate Danny Moreno. There goes Moreno past Jarno Opmeer. Lewis Welch gets in front. Longue will also get in front at the same time as well. So Opmeer's dropped all the way down. He's going to drop behind Donoso up towards turn 1. That'll be a big hit for him if he manages to drop behind. Donoso tries to go around the outside of Opmeer. Opmeer losing the room, but he just about gets in front of Fabrizio Donoso. That would not have been ideal for Opmeer had he come out behind the second Renault, but Opmeer's got a lot of work to do now to catch up to the back of where he was before. It might not have quite worked out exactly how he wanted, but he's still firmly in the fight with the penalties up in front of him as well. Moreno's got some good cards in his hand at the moment as well. He's about 2.5 seconds off the back of Chanakinchi, and could still be on for good results here. As you can see now, there's a little bit of a scrap on between Longue and Lewis Welch. Here comes Lewis Welch on Nicholas Longue, trying to get one over on the Renault on the outside line into the brakes over turn 12. Longue is late on the brakes on the inside, cut back line maybe for Lewis Welch, not quite, but he's really putting a scrap on here. He loses out there to Nicholas Longue, and now Longue will try and get past Jake Benham's on a different strategy. He just sends it up the inside of turn 14, and he just will run him out wide here. Jake Benham has not really got an answer to that, and Longue does get in front, but still out front. It's now Caraton in front, but can he look after the tyres for 8 more laps?
Yeah, and it looks like Borman's getting closer as well, Jack. Looks like he might be now putting down the hammer here on Alvaro Caraton, who of course has done some sterling work in order to utilise the strategy to his advantage here. And now it's the time for McLaren to now work together to try and bring the race closer to that of the Williams as they come up now towards the next winding section through turns 3, 4, 5 and 6, heading into 7. And still on top is the Williams of Caraton. In behind, you've got Barry Burman now. After so many great performances at the start of this season, 3 wins at the very start, of course. He won at Austria, he won at Hungary, he won at Spain as well. But he's here at the Circuit of the Americas, facing yet another possibility of another podium, but a victory. As they come around the next left-hander now, Josh Idawu in behind him too. Yamulo getting closer and closer to that of Andreas Tormeyer as well. A potential overtake in the midst here. Also, Danny Moreno coming to join the party, who's now looking to overtake Chana Kinchi as they come up now towards the next left. Look how close the Spaniard is as they come down now towards turn 12 as a yeet down the inside there from Moreno. Moves his way up to P6. He needs to try and dispatch these cars as soon as possible, utilise these softs and be quick in the end, Jack. I'd imagine he'll do it in very quick fashion.
There's another big send from on him on Yamulo as well up the inside, and he does get it done on those soft tires. And of course, if only he hadn't got the penalty, this would be genuine position for Danny Moreno, but of course he has the 3 seconds to add on to his time at the end of this race. Now maybe he could get it removed in the stewards room, we don't know, but we'll have to wait and see pending any stewards inquiries. But he's going to get a dispatch Andreas Dormeyer now in the Alfa Romeo up towards turn 1. DRS not even using any ERS whatsoever. Dormeyer not fighting. Jarno Watmir, fastest lap of the race in the background, but now Moreno's up the inside. There is still plenty of time left in this race. 3.7 seconds up to the back of Idawu. I think Moreno could still do this, you know.
He could well do it, Jack. He's in 4th place, not far behind that of Josh Idawu. Those seconds will soon come tumbling down on those fresher soft tyres as he now rounds to the next right now. You can see there further up, Burman unable to get closer to Caraton. 1st place might not be in the offing for Moreno, but still a respectable podium position will certainly be just that. He's getting closer all the time. Just look at that time cascading here as they come down towards the next left. There you can see Yamulo and Longue going wheel to wheel. Longue on top as well as he tries to follow through on Andreas Dormeyer as they come now down towards turn 12. There you can see the Red Bull trying to utilise the DRS to try and get closer once again to the Frenchman, but nothing in the offing as we now watch them hightail it round the next left-hander. Chana Kinchi as well trying to get closer as the two Hasses are brought together. You can see there Lewis Welch in P9, Jarno Watmir as well trying to gather his thoughts and feelings as they come round in lap 22 of 28. We've got 6 laps remaining here, folks, and Jarno Watmir has really got to perform the race of his life to score some respectable points.
Yeah, and Moreno's just taken a 1.5 seconds out of Josh Idawu on that previous lap. Just to update anyone at home who's watching, might be a bit confused with the telemetry or the graphics on screen. The real Andreas Dormeyer is the one that's fighting with Nicholas Longue at the moment in P5 and 6. Longue has just got past him, so that is the Dormeyer that you need to be focusing on rather than the other one. Jarno Watmir dispatches Lewis Welch up the inside. Nothing Lewis could do about this time. He was the one attacking last time, but loses out to Jarno Watmir now. But Danny Moreno, he's pulled 1.7 seconds on Nicholas Longue. He's catching the McLarens at a rate of knots, and he is in with a shout, maybe, of securing himself a podium on track. And even if the stewards get involved and get those warnings removed, he's still on for maybe a 2nd place, but also an outside shot of the win.
He could well be. Here comes Otmir again as they come down towards turn 11. Is he going to make a move on Chanakichi? Not just yet. He's going to be patient as he makes his way around the next left. He will have DRS and obviously the quicker tyres at his disposal as they come down the stretch, utilising now the rear wing on that Mercedes. Down they go towards turn 12. You can see him just eyeing up a move here on the house of Chanakichi. Moves alongside the Tech. A lovely sweeping manoeuvre. Textbook, just as you like from the Flying Dutchman. Now he's got Dario Yamulo ahead of him next. Needs to try and whittle his way past these cars now with just over 5 or just under 5 laps remaining here, folks. I have to say, and a big hat tip to all you viewers out there. We have nearly hit 200 viewers here for the first time on the PSGL PC Championship broadcast.
Happy birthday, Connor, as they come across the start-finish line for lap 24 of 28. The gap between Oidu and Moreno is now 1.5 seconds. He's catching super quickly, and there's not discounting the fact that he could even build a 3-second lead over Caraton if he catches him within that. Here comes Otmir, inside line of Dormeyer, and he gets it stopped and done. Next target, Nicholas Longe. So he's managed to get those positions back up, and remember the 3-second time delta he's got. He will just get in front of Longe. He will not get in front of Moreno, so Moreno on course to outscore his teammate Jarno Otmir at the moment, but Moreno is knocking on the door of DRS. 1 second. Will he get within that DRS range on the DRS section? Not quite, but he will have it next time. He's got 90% ERS charge. He's got lots in the tank. He's got 5 laps to try and take this win and pull off an amazing strategy call.
He will indeed. Caraton currently clear by 2.6 seconds, but look at Moreno as well. He's stalking his prey, that being the McLaren team as well. Borraman currently back just by over 1.5 into 2 seconds, but you can see the two McLarens literally in tandem. And then certainly it's going to be a very tough ask for Moreno to try and crack the egg, that of the podium placings, as they come down towards the next left now, heading into Sector 3. It's been a sensational race here at the Circuit of the Americas. The drama, the toxicity, the battling, the aforementioned drama that we have had here at the United States has been nothing short of exquisite. In behind as well, in between Nicholas Longe, separating the two Mercs. Just look at the tyre condition on Danny Moreno's tyres. They are burning orange. 66% on the front left, 67 on the front right, 63 on the rear left, 64 on the rear right. He is really eating into them now, Jack.
He's using them to the best of their ability as well as he closes up to the McLarens now. But now, of course, Aidu has got the DRS on Borraman in front. It's going to be a little bit tough for him to get past, but he's got to really close up in this winding sector. 17-lap-old hards have got nothing to answer for versus 6-lap-old soft tires. They're much fresher. There's nothing Aidu can do about this as they come through the winding sector. Gets a good exit over the top of the hill, but at the same time, Borraman is just nipping closer to Caraton each time. Moreno on the back of Aidu now with the DRS, 87% charge DRS. Now he activates it to try and get a little bit closer to Aidu. Here he comes now, using all of that overtake as he comes down towards turn 12. There's nothing the McLarens can do about this. Here comes Moreno on the inside of Josh Aidu, and that is one dispatched. Barry Borremand is next, and there will be 3 laps to go across the start-finish line now. Oh, if only he didn't have a penalty, it could be a lot more closer than this, but he's still in with a firm shout at this. There's nothing these guys can do about it. Mercedes once again providing the perfect strategy calls, but of course he's got to get past Borremand, and he's got to get past Caraton as well.
Yeah, the butterflies are fluttering there in the McLaren garage as Danny Moreno tries to put a spike through the balloon that has been their race so far. After an exquisite qualifying session, it's all come apart at the seams as Danny Moreno now, round the final corner, begins to start his lap 26 of 28. Can he start it with an overtake into turn 1? The Iranian Barry Burman at the mercy of the machine, Danny Moreno. Amazing. They're pulling no punches. The Mercedes hits P2. He goes ahead, 10 places up from the start. What a performance by Danny Moreno.
Settle in for this next charge from Danny Moreno. It's Spaniard on Spaniard. It's Caraton versus Moreno. Caraton is agonizingly close to that first win of the season. He's come second on so many occasions. He's 1.2 seconds in front of Moreno. He's got much older tires. It's going to be a massive ask for him to hang on, but it all will all come down whether the stewards are informed of wanting to get warnings removed from Danny Moreno. But Caraton has done an amazing drive so far.
Here comes Otmir.
He's pulled off a great strategy, but now he's got to try and keep that behind. In the background, Otmir versus Longe. There's nothing Longe can do about this. Otmir Otmir is in front of him into the braking zone. Now it's Otmir with the chance to get past the McLarens.
Yep, huge points here in the offing here for Mercedes. They could really spoil the McLaren party here today. Lewis Welch donning and dueling there with Andreas Dormeyer, wheel to wheel as well, fighting for the latter points in the top 10. In comes Donoso, looking for a stretch around the outside, but Dormeyer holds on as they run the next left. Donoso might still get him here as they go wheel to wheel now, round the hexagonal bends. This is a battle for the points, and yes, Donoso, he's done it. He's up to P9. Sensational maneuver. He is in P9. More points for Renault. What a contest this has been. And yet we're going to see more. It's going to be a grandstand finish, Jack. A battle for the podiums. Is it going to be Otmir on one of the steps?
Let's see, because now Moreno's within the DRS of Caraton. But as well, that penalty is going to hurt him big time. He's going to fall behind the McLarens. He's going to fall behind Jarno Otmir as well after these. But now Otmir is also in the DRS of Josh Idawu. But Moreno is looking very, very menacing on the tail of Alvaro Caraton, which is a lap and a half left to run in Circuit of the Americas. Is this the moment now for Danny Moreno to secure himself the on-track victory? Here he comes down the back straight. There's nothing Caraton can do. Here comes Moreno with the DRS. He sides past and takes the lead. And in the background, here comes Otmir on Idawu. Idawu defends the middle of the road. There's nothing that he can try and do here. Otmir with the much fresher tyres. Outside line for Otmir through the middle sector. He goes round the outside. Idawu's trying to everything defend him off. But Otmir, sensational overtake on the inside line. He's done the job. He's into fourth. Next up is Bormann. But Moreno's got to push with everything he's got now on this last lap of the race.
They said they couldn't do it. They said it could not be done. Jarno Otmir now trying to stir up on Barry Burman. Mercedes are doing everything right now. Moreno, out of nowhere, has managed to move his way up, none less than that of nearly 11 places. We're on the final lap of this United States Grand Prix, folks. Jarno Otmir now needs to fight for a podium, a potential double podium in the upping year for the Mercedes team. You have to like his chances right now as they come down towards the next winding sections. Otmir on the fresher soft tyres. Jack, I cannot bear to watch. What are we going to expect here?
I think Otmir could still win this, you know, if he manages to get past Bormann and Caraton. Don't count him out, the F1 Esports World Champion. He's got a couple more opportunities. Moreno's a second and a half clear, but Bormann is agonizingly close to the back of Caraton here, down towards the back straight for the final time here in Circuit of the Americas. He's nipping on the door. Otmir's also there. Hang on to your hats, everybody. Down the back straight they go for the last time. Bormann's using all of his ERS. Otmir's using all of his ERS, but there's nothing they can do. They've got nothing left in the tank here. It's the last sector they will go for the final time of asking tonight. Caraton hanging on for dear life here in this final sector. Here they come into the middle sector for the last time. Round the right-hander. It's Otmir all over the back of Bormann as the stadium is in front of them. The fans are on their feet. It's Otmir on the inside. He can't quite do it. He's going to try on the outside line, but he can't quite get alongside. It's the right-hander they go for the last time. It's going to be so close at the line between these two. It's Danny Moreno who will take the on-track victory, but it will be, at last, it will be Alvaro Caraton who will win the US Grand Prix. He's taken long enough. Bormann is second and Jarno Otmir is on the podium, but it's Caraton who's done it at last.
An instant classic here in the United States Grand Prix. Jack, we predicted it. We predicted it would be a grandstand finish. It was simply that. Alvaro Caraton, he relaxed the pundits. He did not. None of us saw this coming. Caraton on top spot after Moreno's penalty earlier on in the race. Those 3 seconds were vital, but the Spaniard Alvaro Caraton in P1 takes the victory here at the Circuit of the Americas. Barry Burman, what a performance. Held it together to the final lap. Otmir came through, snatched P3, an incredible rise to the Mercedes. Great races across the board for the top 5. Josh Idawu getting some great points as well in P5 too, as well as the 2 Renaults in the top 10. Jack, I don't know what we've just seen. We've just witnessed probably is that race of the season.
Absolutely, without a doubt, race of the season, and I've got a massive smile on my face after that one. Look at the gap at the end between everybody. Carroton 4/10 in front, Jana Watmere 2/10 behind Barry, and Moreno just missed out on the podium by 3/100ths of a second. If only he hadn't got that penalty. But of course, there could be an appeal put in yet. We'll wait to see. But Mercedes pulling off, again, a great strategy. But Carroton, a tip of the hat. He's taken long enough to get his first win of the season, and he's done the job in style. What pressure he was under all the way through that last half of the race, and he held on and did a brilliant job to get that first win. Second so many times. Now he's firmly a championship contender, and it should be now Barry Borman's the new championship leader.
Yes, both Williamses have actually secured wins this season. Nicholas Matteo doing that as well at Monza, as we said earlier on tonight. But amazing race indeed. And that is your victor, not Michael Schumacher, though being done by Alvaro Carreton. We've seen this man at the top step on many an occasion in the past. But amazing race from Alvaro Carreton. He'll take victory here at the United States Grand Prix. And in an amazing fashion as well. And I'm lost for words. It's very rare that happens because I'm talking all the time during these broadcasts. But I have to say, an incredible grandstand finish. There's your winner. Alvaro Carreton wins the United States Grand Prix. Barry Burman P2 for the McLaren team. Jana Watmere P3. Danny Moreno P4. Josh Idawu P5. Nicholas Longe P6. Dario Yamulo in P7. Fabrizio Donoso P8. Joe Hannon P9. Julian Naumann P10. And Lewis Welch P11. Andreas Dormeyer P12. Chana Kinchi P13. Yari Fitz P14 with Philip Presnader, P15, Dylan Warren, P16, and of course Ruben Vallejo, P17. Unfortunately, we lost Jake Benham, Tom Martinez, and Nicholas Matteo in the first lap. Wow!
And as well, Jana Watmere also secured himself the fastest lap as well by a couple of thousandths over Danny Moreno, but hell of a race. Unreal from that one. That is hands down race of the season. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a preview of F1 esports, because those guys are going to be fighting it out for the world title as well. This is just fantastic to watch.
Jack, just 2 seconds, mate. I got to do this. I'm going to do it now. Before we go any further into this season, we've still got loads of races left, folks. Okay, hang on. You heard me tearing a piece of paper, right? This is it. This is me waving my white flag, Jack. My white flag. I surrender. What have we just seen? My word. Oh, PSGL history made here tonight, folks. Viewers count 200 we breached. You guys are unbelievable. Honestly. Oh my God. And what a race here at the United States circuit. You guys have witnessed history tonight. Not only have we breached a viewers figure, but not only that, we have just witnessed a classic, an instant classic tonight here in PSGL, certainly the PC Championship. And it's only made the championship more complicated, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it really has, because at the top of the championship now, I will pull it up because I've got the live standings. We have at the top of the standings now, it should be Barry Burman on 73, Alvaro Carreton now second on 72, so a point is all it is at the top of the standings, but Barry now leads it, and we've got some of these guys in to chat about what the hell just happened on screen.
I've got to say, I'm lost for words, Jack, and I'm going to talk to these guys now, because honestly, they've put us through the ringer tonight, and I'm going to start off. Let's go for a change of pace. Well, saying that, let's just start with Jana Watmere. Jano, how are you?
Not too bad. It was an exciting race, I think so.
Listen, you're paying for my surgery when I need to have my voice box removed, okay? Because that is just out of this world. I mean, what were you thinking, man? I got to say, Q2, it can't have been easy. I mean, it looked like you were on the brink of elimination. You got eliminated. No Mercedes heading into Q3. Was that ever part of the plan? Did that ever figure in to the way that race was going to go?
I mean, I felt like I really want to start on the harder compounds at least. So if I could go into Q3 with mediums, it would have been ideal. And then, well, I didn't by, I think, 100 or something. Shame was I didn't, or I did make a big mistake on my lap. So it was a real shame. Otherwise, I would have gone on to Q3 and maybe get a top 3 in Q3 starting on mediums. It would have been ideal, of course. But yeah, and then I decided to start on hards, something that was... I would say not really planned by anyone. I felt like, oh, fuck it, send it. And I mean, after 5 laps, I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. And then it started slowly coming back to me.
Oh well, I have to say it was a very bold strategy, certainly from that sense. But I suppose you didn't really have a choice. But going through that race, obviously off the start, very tricky on the hard tires. Was it? Were you really trying your best? I mean, obviously defensively, it's always tricky when you're the only sole man on the hards, and you're trying to get through the first half of the race when everyone else's tires are at their optimum pace. You must have really been clenching through that.
Yeah, I would say I'm a bit disappointed I didn't start on mediums in the end because I gained 2 positions on the hards in the first lap. So yeah, might have even been 3 on the mediums, and then I could have maybe sticked onto some soft runners on the mediums, and then the wall race would have been completely different. So a bit disappointed in the end I didn't start on mediums because then I think I had a much bigger chance on the win. Because now I just dropped back after that first lap to P11, P12, P13. So that was not ideal. But anyway, it was definitely a fun race. I think I rejoined almost last when I came out on new softs. So
well, let's just talk about. I mean, obviously you've raced many occasions, different leagues, obviously in F1 esports, things of that nature. Where does that race place in certainly in terms of competitiveness in league racing? Because that's got to be somewhere near the top, isn't it? That was extremely tight.
I think top 3 was separated, or top 4 was separated by 7.5 tenths. So yeah, it was very, very close on the finish. I almost got Barry in the last sector, but I just couldn't make it work as my softs were obviously degrading really fast as well. So yeah, shame I didn't get Snatch P2 in the end. Luckily, I did get a fast lap, so 1 extra point. But yeah.
Well, I have to say, great race, and obviously with Philip Prejnader, unfortunately having to, he sort of dipped out of the points. It's opened the door for the championship. Obviously, everyone is bunched together now. You've got pretty much everyone who was at the top end of that race today, all within a chance of winning the championship. It's going to be one of the most fascinating encounters we've seen in league racing, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, I think top 4 is separated by how many points? 6, 7?
Approximately 6,
top 5
7
maybe.
points. Yeah, nothing between them at all. It was before the race, 11 points separated the top 5. So there was nothing between them because you had Caraton and yourself who were equal on 11 points back from Prejnader. Obviously now, given the circumstances of tonight, it's just going to bring it all closer together, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. So it's going to be very exciting last 4 races, I think so. 5 races. Yeah, 5 races. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting last 5 races. Some fun tracks coming up, so can't wait for them.
And some good content for your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, of course.
Great stuff. Well, congratulations. Great race, Jarno. Congratulations on the P3. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll go to P2. Barry Burremand, a welcome return once again to PSGL. I've got to say, Barry, that was a really tricky race. Difficult to judge, I have to say, after that. A very good qualifying session. Maybe the race got away from you slightly.
First of all, hello to you, to Jack, and to everyone who are watching. Yeah, to be honest, everyone, I think, top 3 is, like, not Alvaro did a fantastic job, but everyone are, like me, Jarno, and fourth, a little bit disappointed to not get the top. But I should say, in the quali, I really choked a lap because, in my first, I just wanted to not use my 3 run because in USA, I think you could use your first run in the first, you could use 3 soft, but in this situation, your first run, you cut it and then come to the pit and then use again the second and then do a lap and then the third. But I really wanted to save one of my soft tires for the race. Like, you don't know, maybe safety car, lap 19 or anything. But yeah, at the end, really safe lap. Not the ideal lap, I should say. Not really happy with the lap. But yeah, at the end, I got P2. In the start, I really have to pass Alvaro now, I'm thinking. But I should say Alvaro had a decent pace as well. And I think he had a better car in the straight line. But yeah, I did all of my best. I should say in the hard tires, like maybe I could do a little bit better in the first 3 laps for the undercut to make the gap bigger because I knew medium's not gonna be the fastest at the end of the race. And yeah, in the last 5-6 lap, I completely turned to gain on Alvaro. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But yeah, at the end, I will take P2. It was a great race, you'd say. So many things to learn from this race. And GG to Alvaro. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I have to say it was a crazy race and obviously a very, very close finish, and that's exactly what we like here at PSGL. Certainly myself and Jack was screaming for our lives throughout the ending of that. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. Obviously, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, Barry. You're in new colours. What is going on? Tell us, what's happening? McLaren.
There is nothing really special because, after what did Mercedes last race, I just changed my car for anything because my favorite, I'm really like McLaren in the real life as well. And then I asked the owner, Big C, and happy late birthday to him as well. And and he just told me, yeah, it is available. And then because I have a really great relationship with Josh, so I have decided to only change my car for these things. It's really nothing really curious,
Well, I have to say, it was great to see you back and certainly up there fighting again. You nearly turned it around. I have to say, it got close. It looked like you were going to get your revenge back on the Mercedes team. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jarno just to round things off before we speak to Alvaro. Obviously, looking at the points situation, it's getting really close at the top end. Obviously, now your 3 wins at the start of the season, obviously due to your rig situation and your travel, obviously you weren't able to compete for a good few races, but that inadvertently has brought the championship closer together. Are you excited about the title fight yet to come?
Yeah, I'm really excited because, as you know, if someone really go off, and even if it was me, it's not really something to learn about it, in my opinion, because we are, at least me, I'm here to learn so many things from this, to gain experience, especially Alvaro, Jarno doesn't need to gain any experience because they are already experienced. But yeah, I'm really here to learn so many things, and I think when these things happen, only the grid is so much closer. I think I will learn more things as well. So I'm really looking forward to the next 5 or 6 races. I'm not sure. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, well, I got to say, we'll look forward to seeing it, Barry. An excellent performance once again, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time for yet more action. Well done.
Yeah, thank you so much to you and Jack for the commentating.
No problem at all. Thank you, Barry. Thank you so much. Last but not least, I have to say, a very incredible performance in qualifying and in the race in Q3. Did it where it counted. Alvaro Carreton, welcome to the commentary box. Sorry to leave you last, but we have to leave the best till last. Tell us about that one, mate. That was an incredible race.
Good night, everyone. Yeah, it was perfect race. Considering the strategy I had, which the inverse, the alternate strategy from P11 was much better, but still I managed to finish P1. So yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, it seemed like you pulled off a masterstroke. Certainly qualifying ended extremely well for you. Just talk about the pressure, because I mean, I look at it every week when we commentate PSGL, and certainly Q3, all the drivers leave the pit box for the last few minutes of quali in order to try and leave their final laps on the table. Just how hard is it to post a lap like that at the end of qualifying? Because the tension and the pressure must be at its maximum.
To be honest, Q3 went quite bad for me because in the first run I made a mistake using rich mode instead of max.
Oh wow!
And then in the last lap, it was a lap with mistakes. I didn't think I was gonna do pole, but still I did. And then maintained the position so that Barry and Josh were going for hard. And I had no driver with possibility to undercut me, so I stayed on track. Made some overtakes, hard ones, and thanks to Danny because he had 3 seconds, and we win the race. That's it.
Yeah, well, I have to say, it worked out perfectly for yourself because you led pretty much at the start. You were able to get away at the get-go and managed to obviously spring some delta after the pit stops were accrued. The McLarens had a lot of work to do to fight through the field, but you were able to garner certainly plenty of delta time in order to try and sort of separate the gap. And then obviously Danny picked up a time penalty as well, which landed in your favour. Did you at all figure through that race that it was in your hands, or did you feel that there was definitely more to come and it was going to be a real grandstand finish at the end?
No, I knew that Jarno, Danny, and maybe Longet, maybe then also were going to catch us at the end of the race, and I needed to pass Barry to sort out the traffic, because if I stay behind him, then the race is over. And basically everything went good and all right. So yeah, I'm really happy with this race.
Yeah, we'll have to say 4 podiums in the space of the 3 podiums in the last 4 races. So you're in great form. Two P2s. Obviously, you picked one up in Monza when finishing behind your teammate Nicholas Matteo, and also picking up a P2 at Suzuka. Didn't quite get the luck, or didn't quite get anything. Obviously at France, obviously given the situation, but at the same time, you're in decent form. Williams currently in P2 of the constructors, though that will quickly be P1 now after today's race. What are your thoughts heading into the championship? Because like I said to the other guys, it's getting really close at the top, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where I am now, but I have to say that I practiced quite a bit for this race. I wanted to do well, especially after the disaster from last week. They did not in Q1, so I couldn't afford a bad result again. And yes, it's a really good comeback.
Well, I got to say, a great comeback indeed, a cracking victory, and I hope we'll see some more of it as well as we move on to our next race. Alvaro, cracking win. We'll see you again soon. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. You take care. Well, Jack, we've done it again. Another race in the bag, and I have to say, it just doesn't cease. We think we've seen the best one, but we haven't. The next one comes along, and it's like 5 times better. I just don't know what's going on here at the moment. But these guys seem to be drinking their energy drinks or something, because it just gets a higher level of energy every single time. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. That's what happens when everybody practices. So that's crazy stuff.
Have you checked Opmia's stream yet to see whether he's practicing for next week or not?
Actually, do you know what he's doing? He's watching back the stream right now. So
Really?
I think in about 20 minutes, you can expect him to be sweating for next week. But yeah, it's madness what that was. That was just insane.
Amazing.
Update on the championship points as well for anyone who is wondering. It's Barry Burman now leading the championship on 73 points. Alvaro was wondering where he was. He's P2 now, 72 points, a point off the lead. And Philip Preschnader is still, despite that, he's still third, 67 points, tied with Jarno Opmeer. So it seems Philip Preschnader has survived to fight another day. He's still in there, but because of Moreno's, because of that point score, there is now 6 contenders for the championship. The top 6 are separated by 11 points. It is mental stuff.
Well, it's been a very special night tonight for many different reasons. Obviously, it's Connor's birthday. Obviously, big boss at PSGL, as we said before. Not only is it his birthday, his prediction came up in P1, so he's gained rigged. But also, guys, I just want to say something very important. Tonight, we managed to peak at 281 viewers tonight on this broadcast. An almighty 281 of you tuned in to watch tonight's broadcast. And I have to say, coming from me and Jack, that is absolutely touching and really amazing to see. I believe as well, we've actually surpassed already in one night over 2,255 playbacks as well. So that is total views in it all together, which I have to say, guys, is absolutely breathtaking. I would like to thank every single one of you for all your support of the PSGL broadcast. At the end of the day, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and of course all the great people that put in the work, that support this league and obviously support what we're offering here on YouTube. It's certainly been a hellacious journey. Obviously me and Jack came here for the very first time at PSGL, looking after the PC League in its very first year. Who'd have thought we would be doing these kinds of numbers? I certainly didn't, but we've come here today, here at the Circuit of the Americas, and we've blown it away yet again, and you guys deserve all the credit. You guys make it happen. You guys are PSGL. And Jack, I have to say, since when have has this happened? I mean, I have to say, League Racing, I know for years, it hasn't been painted in coats of glory in recent years, but when things like this happen, it's magical, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy numbers. I was keeping an eye on the stream the whole way through, and last few laps we peaked at that 280, and that's crazy viewership for a league racing. Not F1 esports, of course, but I mean it's the same caliber, so it's getting the viewership it deserves, and it's really nice to see the support behind it. And of course, all the drivers are streaming their own POVs as well, which gives that extra bit as well. So yeah, a massive thank you to everybody as well, and a quick little thing as well. I thought this was a great little stat from the task system, which of course is being used the whole way through. Apparently, right, this is Jaromír's worst result, third. He hasn't finished lower than third all season, and he's not leading the championship. That just shows the competitiveness.
Absolutely. That is how tight it is, folks. And do you know what? It's only going to get tighter. And I believe we are heading to Mexico, Jack, for our next race, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be that's going to be great. So take this track, make the straights longer. That's what we've got coming up for you in next week. Of course, there's no more breaks in the season. You'll be happy to know. So we're heading through for the next 5 weeks. Straight action, 6 championship contenders. I mean, you really can't get better than this.
No, you can't. And folks, you need to stay tuned for next week. It's going to get absolutely saucy. So make sure you're here next week at 7 o'clock here at the PSGL YouTube channel for yet more action in the PC Championship when we head to Mexico here for, well, we're heading into the final ends of the season, but you wouldn't have thought it. The title battle is still very much up for grabs, both in the constructors and the drivers. So if you're God, I tell you what, if you enjoyed tonight, it's going to kick up a notch. So be sure to join me and Jack Canan next week as well at 7 o'clock, as I quite rightly said, and be there for when it all occurs. But if you would like to stay up to date with what we're doing here at PSGL, please make sure you go onto the Twitter page. That's Premier Sim GL. So that's Premier Sim Gaming Leagues, of course, PSGL. And you can actually stay up to date with all the tweets. And obviously you can, get the latest news on what's going on in the championship. Obviously standings and obviously go through the points differences, etc., things of that nature. If you want to stay up to date with me as well, I'm at George Morgan TV. And of course you can check out Jack. Jack, tell him your Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's at JackCComs. So if you want to follow me over there, you can also, if you go to the PSGL Twitter page, you'll find us getting tagged in there about 20 times the whole way through that race. So, of course, Connor's hard at work live tweeting the races as well. So
you had a lot to do today.
He had a lot to do today, and hopefully he has a nice end to his birthday. But I think 280 live viewers, smashing the record for the most watched live event on PSGL. I don't think that's a bad birthday present.
No, not at all. And once again, a big happy birthday to Connor as well on this very special day. But ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking for enough. We'll see you next week for the Mexico GP. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you then. From me and George. From me and George.
Who?
From Jack. Well,
George thinks so much of himself. There's 2 of him.
yeah, we just swap over from time to time. But no, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. From me and Jack, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.